Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga. Chapter 2795. Greetings, noble phoenixes. Saint Venerable Green Lightning appeared at the entrance of the sacred leaf nest. No matter how many layers of restrictions there were, he directly passed through them. Long Chen also followed him into the sacred leaf nest. Inside, it was a dreamy and wonderful world. There were mountains and rivers, dense immortal qi, birdsong, and the fragrance of flowers. Who is it? There were thousands of people in Sacred Leaf City, and they were all at the Samsara realm or above. They were either the strongest experts in the entire Sacred Leaf continent or some young geniuses. Of course, these geniuses couldn't be compared to Sacred Venerable Green Lightning. Swish, swish, swish. Hearing Saint Green Lightning's voice, thousands of people immediately appeared in front of him. There were old and young people, and they were all phoenixes. In the Sacred Leaf Nest, they naturally interacted in human form. To the entire Sacred Leaf continent, this was a holy land, a place that ordinary people yearned for. Therefore, no one would trespass here, and it was obvious that they weren't from the phoenixes. Who are you? Seeing the strange Green Lightning Holy Sage and Long Chen, the phoenix race immediately became vigilant. At this time, a huge commotion broke out in the depths of the Sacred Leaf Nest. An ear-piercing bird cry resounded, and flames soared to the sky. A flaming phoenix that was somewhat similar to the 9 phoenixes that Long Chen had seen before rushed out of the Sacred Leaf Nest and headed towards them. Everyone, don't dodge. The opponent is a human god. This was the urgent warning from the flaming phoenix. The phoenixes were scared out of their wits. But it was already too late. Holy Sage Green Lightning smiled as he flicked out a cyan ball of lightning. Immediately, a cyan light engulfed everything in sight. With a rumble, the ball of lightning exploded, producing a destructive power. Under the powerful shockwave, not only were the thousands of reincarnation tribulations realm phoenixes submerged, even the fire phoenix was engulfed in it. Rumble. The entire Sacred Leaf City exploded. It used to be like a paradise, but now it was like hell on earth. Everywhere was scorched black, and corpses were everywhere. He acted too quickly, and Long Chen couldn't even stop him. The scene in front of him made Long Chen very angry. Should he kill Saint Green Lightning now or not? This became a difficult choice for him. Although that fire phoenix was a divine spirit, it was only at the great circle of the Tai Chi divine realm. In Long Chen's divine kingdom, there were tens of thousands of divine dragons at this level. Of course, those divine dragons had boundless prospects. Holy Venerate Green Lightning's attack killed everyone except the fire phoenix, turning them into ashes. In this charred world, only the fire phoenix, which had turned into its human form after being injured, was still alive. This big fish is actually a little small, but at least it can fill our stomachs. But Brother Yang Chen, it seems like there's only one fish, and it's not enough for us to share. Green Lightning Saint laughed and appeared beside the fire phoenix. He grabbed the woman by the neck and lifted her up. The injured godly spirit of the phoenix race couldn't fight back at all, let alone escape from the hands of a perfection realm godly king. This was a beautiful woman with an exquisite figure. She stared at Green Lightning Saint with hatred and despair. I know you. You're Green Lightning Saint. To think that you would appear here and kill the people of my phoenix race. The 5 of us Saint Emperors will not let you off. Is that so? Green Lightning Saint looked at the woman with a fiery gaze and said, You're a fish today, so you better be obedient. Don't think about anything else. The 5 of you Saint Emperors won't be able to kill me. No one can save you today. Do you know what I'm going to do? Let me tell you a secret. I've never tasted the taste of a phoenix race's divine spirit. Aren't you honored? Hearing this, the originally sad and hateful fire phoenix turned pale. She struggled madly, but she couldn't break free from the control of Green Lightning Saint. She could only cry and curse angrily, Green Lightning Saint, you're a beast. You won't live for long. Our phoenix race will definitely destroy you. You've committed so many crimes, even the heavens won't forgive you. You'll die a horrible death. Haha, I feel so good cursing you. Yes, you look more powerful now. You're our big fish. Green Lightning Saint cursed and prepared to violate her. The Green Lightning Saint cursed as he prepared to violate the other party. But at this time, he stopped and looked at Long Chen with an embarrassed smile. I'm really sorry, brother. You should enjoy the good things first. Today, I'll give this big fish to you. After all, You're a guest. You've been here for so many days and I haven't entertained you yet. You shouldn't reject my good intentions, right? I believe that you will give me face. As he spoke, he threw the furiously cursing fire phoenix to Long Chen and smiled. Enjoy it slowly, I won't be a hindrance to you anymore. I'll wait for you outside. Don't worry, I have plenty of time. As he said that, he turned into a bolt of lightning and disappeared. Long Chen caught the woman from the phoenix race. Bastard, who are you? The woman from the phoenix race cursed. In her eyes, Long Chen was naturally in cahoots with Green Lightning Saint Venerable. But just as she cursed, Long Chen released her and said, "Let's go." What do you mean? The woman from the phoenix race was stunned. Before she could finish speaking, Long Chen had already left. He arrived outside the Sacred Leaf mainland and stopped in front of Green Lightning Saint Venerable. Green Lightning Saint Venerable looked at him coldly and said, "Brother, you really don't give me any face." Long Chen said indifferently, "You're in too much of a hurry to leave. I'm different from you in this aspect. I'm already married. Brothers are like hands and feet. Women are like clothes. Why are you married? Don't bother about her. Just change your clothes after you're done wearing them." Green Lightning Saint Venerable smiled evilly. "No way. All right then, this big fish belongs to me." Green Lightning Saint Venerable was about to leave. But Long Chen stopped him. Green Lightning Saint Venerable squinted his eyes. Of course, everything he did today was intentional. At this moment, Long Chen was still stopping him. He couldn't help but sneer coldly, "Long Chen, I treat you as a brother. Are you a spy from the Phoenix race?" Long Chen wasn't afraid of him. If they really fought, he could only kill him and start a war. If he didn't want to fight, he would hide it as much as he could. After all, the origin dragon soul was still very important. So he said, "Even so, our styles are different. As a strong cultivator, it's my principle to never bully the weak. So you shouldn't have brought me out for today's so-called hunt. Of course, other than this, I don't have any conflicts with you. I'm willing to travel this world and help you win the Jianmu Sacred War. But I'm sorry, if you kill innocent people and humiliate others in front of me, I can't sit back and watch. This has nothing to do with the Phoenix race. No matter who you do it to, I won't sit back and watch." Green Lightning Saint Venerable laughed after hearing this. He said, "It seems like you have a lot of rules. Not bad, you have a character. Today's hunt was a failure. At most, I won't bring you out next time. However, this doesn't affect us becoming brothers. I'm afraid we can't destroy the Phoenix race together. I won't stay here for too long. I won't care about things that I can't see," Long Chen said. Previously, he was a little hesitant. After all, the other party was testing him. Now that he thought it through, it didn't matter. He was worried about the 5 Heavenly Venerables, and the 5 Heavenly Venerables were also worried that he would mess things up. At this moment, in the Holy Leaf Land, the Fire Phoenix had recovered a lot. She immediately fled towards the direction of the Phoenix nest. Green Lightning Saint Venerable looked at the sound of her escape and laughed. "Chick, tell Xueqi to wash up and wait for me. It won't be long before she becomes my woman." The Fire Phoenix directly fled. "Who's Xueqi?" This was Long Chen's first time hearing this name. "She's from the Phoenix race. She can be considered my opponent. Her age is similar to mine, and she was nurtured by the Phoenix race to deal with me. If she becomes my woman, do you think those old fellows from the Phoenix race will be angered to death?" Ha! Green Lightning Saint Venerable seemed to have forgotten the conflict between the two of them and started laughing. "Let's go back." Long Chen couldn't be bothered with this lunatic. Not long after they returned, a beam of light suddenly appeared in the distance and soared into the sky. That direction seemed to be a branch of the Builder Tree. Many countries of the Phoenix race had been established on it. That beam of light was very bright. Although it was still very far away, dense spiritual auras rushed towards Long Chen's eyes. It was very possible that a treasure had been born. The Builder Tree was rich in spiritual qi. The possibility of a treasure being born here was much higher than in the Dragon Sacrificial Continent. It's actually the Builder Tree Divine Accumulation Crystal. My luck is so good. Green Lightning Saint Venerable was stunned. What's that? Long Chen squinted his eyes as he looked at that beam of light. It was a treasure, but its light could be transmitted so far, across dozens of sacred leaf continents. It was truly rare. Green Lightning Saint Venerable said, "It's an ordinal-grade primal chaos treasure. It's the spiritual chi that the Builder Tree has condensed for tens of thousands of years and condensed into a single point. It can be considered the fruit of the Builder Tree. The Builder Tree Divine Accumulation Crystal has great effects. It can help raise the grade of Fortune God equipment and its Fortune God power. It can also restore damaged Fortune God equipment. It can also be used to nurture our life tree. It's something that both our races want to snatch. It's our luck that it was born near us this time. Let's go." Before he finished speaking, Green Lightning Saint Venerable turned into a bolt of lightning and sped away. He wasn't particularly anxious because the Builder Tree Divine Accumulation Crystal had yet to completely grow out of the Builder Tree. It can restore damaged Fortune God equipment. It can make the Lingsu twin swords. Long Chen and Lingxi immediately thought of the Lingsu twin swords. Therefore, this Builder Tree Divine Accumulation Crystal was also very important to them. It might even be more important. Therefore, Long Chen instantly decided that no matter what method he had to use, he had to obtain this Builder Tree Divine Accumulation Crystal. Even if he had to offend Green Lightning Saint Venerable, it didn't seem to matter. After all, it depended on their own abilities. However, this place seemed to be the territory of the Phoenix race. With such an obvious Builder Tree Divine Accumulation Crystal appearing, how could the Phoenix race not know about it? Chapter 2796. The Builder Tree Sacred Tree only had one trunk. To the creatures living on it, it was like a flat, endless land. Countless leaves formed the sacred leaf continent, stacked layer by layer, similar to the dragon sacrificial continent. Just like those thick branches and the trunk of the Builder Tree Sacred Tree, the creatures living on it would only feel that it was flat, no different from ordinary land. Compared to this entire world, Long Chen and Green Lightning Holy Sage were incomparably small. However, their speed was very fast. In less than a quarter of an hour, they had quickly rushed through dozens of sacred leaf continents. Be careful. This place is relatively close to the Phoenix Nest. Those fellows from the Phoenix race might appear. Green Lightning Holy Sage rarely became serious. He no longer had that shameless look from before. From his eyes, Long Chen could see that he wanted to obtain the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal. Maybe it's because it can increase the level of his life tree. For a world at the level of the Builder Tree Sacred Tree, the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal should be considered a top treasure. For a world like the Spirit Essence Star Ocean, it's already heaven-defying for a creation-level item to appear. As for the Dragon Sacrificial Continent, it originally didn't even have a creation-level artifact. In fact, there were also people who classified the various worlds according to this. The Dragon Sacrificial Continent belonged to the lowest level world. It couldn't even be considered a fantasy-level world. The Spirit Essence Star Ocean was the 3rd grade, the Great Desolate level. As for the Builder Tree, it was the 5th grade, the Order level. In this way, there would definitely be a 6th grade Primordial level, or even an Eternal level, Original Incipient level, or even an Origin level world. It was very simple. A Primordial level world would definitely have a God Emperor. An Eternal level world would have a God Emperor powerhouse. An Original Incipient level and an Origin level would probably be a world where supreme deities existed. The Tai God realm and supreme deities were also abbreviated as Hierarch. Of course, the level of a world couldn't be determined just by the existence of experts. For example, even if Di Jun returned to the Dragon Sacrificial Continent, the Dragon Sacrificial Continent couldn't be considered an eternal level. At most, it could only be considered a death level, a 2nd grade. Just like the Builder Tree, it had to be balanced. This world could directly give birth to order-level treasures, and there would be many Ultimate God Kings. The powerhouses below the Ultimate God King stage were like a pyramid, and there would not be any large gaps. The Eternal God Race's Sacrificial God Great World was said to have 8 God Emperors, but they were probably not at the final realm. Then, there were so many godly monarchs, so it should be a level higher than the Builder Tree Holy Tree. It could be considered a primordial chaos realm. There were not many realms at this level. The Eternal, Original Incipient, and Origin levels were even rarer. He didn't even know if the latter one existed. The reason why the Builder Tree could be classified as a order grade tree was that it could automatically produce a chaotic treasure like the Builder Tree Divine Accumulation Crystal. Thus, this accidental discovery made Sacred Venerable Green Lightning very excited. Yang Chen, you've helped me get the Divine Essence Crystal. I'll reward you handsomely when we get back. An order-level item was considered a precious treasure to anyone. Long Chen also wanted to have one. Unfortunately, they had all been used as dragon sacrifices to the gods. He was afraid that Di Jun would catch up to him, so he didn't dare to bring them with him. Sure. Long Chen agreed on the surface. Little Shi, you still have a heavenly rule spirit technique called shifting stars, right? Long Chen asked Lingxi. This stellar transposition was the origin of the stellar transposition technique that Lingxi had used in the past. In fact, it was the origin of the cosmos shifting formation. Right now, the distance between continents was no longer effective. The true stellar transposition was a type of law. That's right. I can use this shifting stars to cross the entire dragon sacrificial continent in one go. I can return to the Builder Tree Divine Palace from here in an instant. I can also leave your god nation and return to your god nation directly. It's just that the further the distance, the longer the preparation time is. For example, to reach the Builder Tree Divine Palace, it would probably take about 15 minutes to prepare. Heavenly rule spirit techniques were so magical. If it wasn't for the longer preparation time, Long Chen would have wanted to snatch the origin dragon soul and let Lingxi teleport him to the starry skies. Although Long Chen carried billions of lives, he could enter Lingxi's god nation and wouldn't let Lingxi's god nation collapse. That was because the billions of lives could only survive because of the suppression of the origin dragon soul. It was as though they were living within the origin dragon soul. Moreover, the origin dragon palace was connected to the myriad worlds. It wouldn't give Long Chen or Lingxi any pressure. We might need it. Prepare yourself. Long Chen reminded. I understand. As they spoke, they landed on the branch where the Divine Providence crystal had been born. Below them was a huge piece of land. Because the Divine Providence crystal had been born in this place, there were now hundreds of millions of creatures living in this light. Even their martial arts cultivation was growing in this light. Long Chen finally saw the Builderwood God-containing crystal. It was a huge crystal that was still within the Builderwood sacred tree. It had a diameter of a few thousand meters and was emitting a boundless light. Rings of light swept out from it. There's still more than half of it stuck within the Builderwood sacred tree. It hasn't fully formed yet. When it's fully formed, I'll bring it away. Help me protect me and let me keep an eye on the Phoenix race. Green Lightning Sage's eyes were filled with lightning as he said excitedly. We're so lucky. We came to the Phoenix race to play around and we actually came across this thing. Luckily I saw it. Otherwise, the Phoenix race would have benefited so much. Quickly form, quickly form. Green Lightning Sage's eyes were filled with light. He was so excited that his entire body was trembling. At the same time, he commanded 5 heavenly venerables to receive him. The 5 heavenly venerables had ordered him to obtain the Builderwood God-containing crystal. If he couldn't obtain it, he could destroy it. Hurry up! Green Lightning Sage naturally knew that this place was so close to the Phoenix Nest. The Phoenix Nest would definitely be able to sense the birth of a treasure here. If there were gods nearby, they would definitely come. At that time, there would definitely be a fight. Hence, the faster the Builderwood God-containing crystal matured, the higher the possibility of him obtaining it. I don't know when it will fully form, but if the Phoenix race doesn't come before it fully forms, wouldn't that fellow be benefiting from it? If I can restore the Lingsu dual swords to the order grade, I might be able to fight against those 5 heavenly venerables. Long Chen calmed his heart and observed the changes. He wanted to see whether the Phoenix race would come first or the Builderwood God-containing crystal would form first. There were still many variables, so he wasn't in a hurry to make a move. Young Chen, don't tell me you want this thing? Green Lightning Sage asked when he saw that the crystal hadn't fully formed. Long Chen smiled and said, Don't worry. My appetite isn't that big. I can't swallow this thing. That's good. Green Lightning, won't forget your help this time. In the future, if there are good things, I will share them with you, Green Lightning Sage said seriously. Long Chen smiled faintly. This fellow was really impatient. However, would being impatient be useful? At this time, the experts of the Phoenix race had indeed arrived. Moreover, it was before the Builderwood God-containing crystal was formed. Long Chen and Green Lightning Sage leaned against the Builderwood God-containing crystal to face the enemy. Green Lightning Sage hurriedly said, If I can deal with it, you don't have to do anything. You don't need to reveal your strength for the time being. After all, You have to numb our opponents during the sacred battle. Even if you make a move, don't use your full strength. It's enough if you can entangle them. Oh, I understand. Long Chen smiled in his heart. This was even better. There were actually 3 from the Phoenix race. Those 2 are one of the 5 saint clans of the Phoenix race, the Swan and I. They will be hard to deal with. Moreover, these 2 seem to be Feng Chen and Huang Qiong. Green Lightning Sage's voice was slightly angry. There were definitely not many opponents in the Phoenix race that could make him feel fear. The ones who had come should be experts. Long Chen looked carefully and saw a man and a woman in front. They both had long purple hair and purple eyes. Their skin and bodies were decorated with feathers. They looked very elegant. The handsome man and the beautiful woman had a dignified temperament similar to the Black Qilin. Their strength was also very majestic. Since Green Lightning Sage could recognize them, they should be great perfection realm god kings. They were one of the 5 saint clans of the Phoenix race. The Swan and I was a purple pure-blooded phoenix. Green Lightning Sage, you're the one who destroyed the sacred leaf nest of our sacred leaf continent. We came to capture you, but we didn't expect that the Builderwood god containing crystal would appear. This Builderwood god containing crystal was born in the territory of our Phoenix race. It belongs to us. Do you still dare to snatch it? Among the Swan and I, the male Feng Chen shouted. Even Xueqi is here. Saint Venerable Green Lightning didn't blame Long Chen for letting the Fire Phoenix go. Instead, he called these 3 over. The divine accumulation crystal of the Builderwood had not matured yet. His gaze fell on the last petite girl from the Phoenix clan. This girl was a little different. One of her eyes was red and burning with flames. There was the image of a phoenix in her eyes. The other one was purple like the other 2, like a cold pond. Her long hair was black. This girl looked very exquisite. Although she didn't look old, she would definitely be a great beauty in the future. She had bright eyes and white teeth. She also had the pure temperament of the Phoenix race. She was even more unique. However, there was a hint of fierceness in her eyes, which slightly ruined her Phoenix temperament. This girl should be Xueqi. However, she wasn't as good as Green Lightning Sage. She was a divine monarch at the primordial realm, but she was much younger than Green Lightning Sage. Previously, Green Lightning Sage had said that she was nurtured by the Phoenix race. She was a genius of the Phoenix race to deal with Green Lightning Sage. From the looks of it, her status in the Phoenix race wasn't any lower than Green Lightning Sage's status in the human race. Green Lightning, you despicable dog. I can't wait to chop you into pieces and feed you to the dogs. You still dare to behave atrociously in the territory of my Phoenix race. This time, I'll tear you into pieces. Although Xueqi wasn't as strong as the other 2 Feng Chen, she was still the core of the trio. Green Lightning Sage turned a deaf ear to her fierce words. Instead, he laughed and said to Long Chen, "Brother, look. In order to maintain the purity of the bloodline, the 5 sacred clans of the Phoenix race have never mixed bloodlines. Now, to deal with me, they have created a bastard like Xueqi. Moreover, she has 2 incompatible bloodlines, the Swan and I and the Vermilion Bird. What a joke." Chapter 2797. From Saint Venerable Green Lightning's mockery, Long Chen roughly understood what was different about this girl called Xueqi. The 5 sacred clans were particular about pure blood. She was indeed born from the fusion of 2 different phoenix bloodlines. But what was certain was that Xueqi's talent was also very high. She was probably the strongest genius that the Phoenix clan had recently produced. She had already reached the Taisha god realm. The girl was very fierce. Although she was mocked by Saint Venerable Green Lightning, she didn't care. She sneered. "What is a real bastard? It has nothing to do with bloodline. It has to do with your dirty, shameless soul. You want to take away the Builderwood Divine Reserve Crystal in my Phoenix clan's territory? What a joke. Just wait. Before the Builderwood Divine Reserve Crystal is formed, we 5 Saint Kings will arrive." Saint Venerable Green Lightning's heart was indeed beating fast. The longer the Builderwood Divine Reserve Crystal was delayed, the more trouble he would be in. He was very decisive. At this time he said to Long Chen, "Help me stop Xueqi first. I'll deal with the other 2 first. You wait here for the Builderwood Divine Reserve Crystal to form. Once it is formed you take it first. Then we 2 will escape." "Okay." If it was just to stop Xueqi, it would be very simple. But Long Chen had some other ideas. He had to admit that Saint Venerable Green Lightning was really bold. A mere Great Perfection Realm Godly King actually dared to fight against two Great Perfection Realm Godly Kings. Of course, he pinned his hopes on Long Chen. He only needed to stop the other two. Attack. With his personality, he acted immediately. Long Chen continued to stay around the Builderwood Divine Reserve Crystal. This time, he directly took out his natal tree, the Thunderbolt Holy Tree. Fusion. Instant change. A huge Thunderbolt Holy Tree appeared on this continent. There were many living beings below it. Saint Venerable Green Lightning was definitely very cunning. Now, all his branches were flashing with green lightning. When they danced, they created a terrifying power that could destroy heaven and earth. It was unknown how many living beings would die in this battle. No matter what, the previous struggles of the gods were all disasters. Xueqi, we'll deal with you. You find a chance to take the Builderwood Divine Reserve Crystal. We'll try to kill him together. Feng Chen and Huang Qiong were infuriated. They transformed into their true phoenix forms right in front of Saint Green Lightning. They were two gigantic purple phoenixes that were pure and radiant. They were divine birds that were noble, cold, and majestic. The two of them were one of the 5 sacred tribes of the phoenix, the Bai-En. They cultivated 3 types of laws. One was the righteous Tao, one was the law of love, and the last was the law of water unique to the Bai-En. The two Bai-En had a majestic presence, and after transforming, they far surpassed the Ink Qilin. Any one of them could easily defeat the Ink Desolation Divine King. Both sides wanted to suppress the other as soon as possible. Therefore, when the Thunderbolt Holy Tree and the 2 purple phoenixes fought, the battle became extremely intense. Saint Venerable Green Lightning deliberately spread the battle to the living beings, causing the purple phoenixes to be restrained. Although the 2 experts could defeat Saint Venerable Green Lightning together, it was not something that could be done in a short time. Saint Venerable Green Lightning was very confident in Long Chen. Once the Builderwood Divine Reserve Crystal was formed, Long Chen would definitely be able to take it. He just needed to restrain the 2 purple phoenixes. Boom, boom, boom. Above the sky, there were green lightning and the strange purple waves of the Swan Ni. Under the intense battle, no one could do anything to the other. Instead, many living beings were killed and injured. It was difficult to determine the winner in a short time. If the battle continued, there would only be more casualties. Seeing this, the girl called Xueqi was so angry that her eyes turned red. She vented all her anger on Long Chen and scolded, "Who are you? Why haven't I seen you before? You're just a divine monarch and you want to stop me?" Long Chen looked at the Builderwood Divine Reserve Crystal. At this moment, Kitten rushed out of the God Nation. He chuckled and said to Xueqi, "Little beauty, I'm called Kitten Zhuge. It's fate that we can meet here. Why don't we be friends?" Go to hell. Xueqi wanted to spit on his face. "Boss, you have to help me. I think this girl is great, although she's not from my cat race." Kitten chuckled and winked at Xueqi before returning to the God Nation. Seeing that he was so interested in the girl, Long Chen let him be. He stood in front of Xueqi. If Xueqi didn't make a move, he wouldn't. "You're strange. You're not from the human race of the Builder Tree. There's something on you that is similar to my phoenix race. Just who in the world are you?" Xueqi was filled with curiosity towards Long Chen. "Why do you have such a feeling?" Long Chen thought carefully. She should be able to feel his divine dragon bloodline. Speaking of which, a real divine dragon could also transform into a human form. It was the same for the phoenix race. From this point of view, divine dragons were like a kind of monster race. And that cat. What a strange fellow. I think I've seen it somewhere before. Xueqi widened her eyes and looked at Long Chen curiously. However, she quickly regained her fierce look and said angrily, "No matter what, you're in cahoots with a shameless villain like Green Lightning. Obviously, you're the same as him. You deserve to die. When the 5 of us Saint Emperors come, we definitely won't forgive you." Since she didn't make a move, Long Chen didn't need to care about her. He carefully looked at the Builderwood Divine Essence Crystal. It seemed that the power of the entire Builderwood Sacred Tree was gathering here. From the feeling, it should be about to take shape. "Kitten, you really like this little chili." In the God Nation, Lingxi and the others couldn't help but tease Kitten. "What little chili? This is a phoenix, Such a beautiful bird, Kitten said with fascination. You've seen many in the past. Why aren't you moved? Yang Lingqing rolled her eyes. That's because this is called being connected by blood. You wouldn't understand. Kitten said proudly. Kitten, come here. Lingxi waved at him, letting him enter her god nation. She said, wait here, I'll bring you to see her later. How? It's a secret. The battlefield outside was already very chaotic. The two phoenixes were indeed suppressing Green Lightning Saint, but the problem was that Green Lightning Saint had slaughtered countless lives. The two of them had too many considerations, causing them to be in a deadlock. Unless they were ruthless, it wouldn't be easy to defeat Green Lightning Saint. Xueqi, make a move. We'll go all out too. If this continued, the situation would only get worse. Hence, Feng Chen and Huang Qiong had already made up their minds. The Phoenix race placed great importance on love. In fact, they had even reached great heights in this aspect. For example, Feng Chen and Huang Qiong had actually jointly used a type of law. Phoenix seeking Phoenix. The two of them spread their wings and intertwined with each other in the air. They spun around each other, causing boundless purple light to erupt. During this process, their strength started to fuse, creating an effect similar to that of Long Chen's 3 lifetimes love thread. This law could only be used between lovers. It also required deep feelings and the determination to live and die together. After the law, the power of the purple phoenix exploded. This time, they couldn't care less about the destruction. If they couldn't truly defeat Green Lightning Saint, more people would die. Xueqi was about to make a move. Long Chen was faster than her. He directly used his Destiny Heavenly Eye to suppress her. In that instant, Xueqi seemed to have lost all her strength. After that, she endured Long Chen's Heart's Eye of Desire, unable to move. Although she was slightly stronger than Sovereign Emu, she still couldn't escape the control of Long Chen's fate law. Stand there and don't move. Long Chen had a good impression of this girl. Although she was a little fierce, she seemed kind and righteous. There was a clear difference between her and Green Lightning Saint. Although Di Yao was fierce, she was too delicate and arrogant. She was different from Xueqi. Moreover, Kitten had said some nonsense. Since they met because of fate, he didn't want to hurt her. Perhaps in the future, he could even help the kitten find a way to get along. What's wrong with you? Xueqi was so scared that her face turned pale. There was actually such a person who could make her unable to move with just a gaze. How terrifying was this? She was at the god realm of grand beginning. She thought that it wouldn't be long before she could surpass Green Lightning Saint. But now, she was being suppressed by Long Chen like this. Impossible. What sorcery did you use? She couldn't use her strength and couldn't move. Xueqi was so scared that she wanted to cry. If Long Chen attacked her now, she would probably die. Just don't move. Long Chen glanced at her, then raised his head. Under the combined power of Feng Chen and Huang Qiong, Green Lightning Saint had underestimated the enemy. Even if he had the protection of all living beings, he was still in a difficult situation. He was seriously injured and couldn't hold on any longer. Yang Chen, come and help me. Seeing that Long Chen had already suppressed Xueqi, Green Lightning Saint Venerable couldn't care less about his face at this time. Moreover, the building with Divine Essence Crystal hadn't formed yet, so he could only summon Long Chen over. Otherwise, if he were to be seriously injured in a few more moves, and the 5 Saint Emperors would come, he wouldn't be able to escape. Although the other side wouldn't dare to kill him, the building with Divine Essence Crystal would definitely be taken away. All right. Long Chen knew that it would be like this. The two phoenixes were not to be trifled with. Moreover, their cooperation was perfect. Long Chen didn't say anything and rushed forward. The Lingsu dual swords appeared in his hands. He stared at Huang Qiong and raised his sword to the sky, blocking the two phoenixes and separating them. The two swords were on the left and right. Huang Qiong was about to go over, but Long Chen suppressed her with the Heavenly Eye of Destiny. Only then did she notice Long Chen. Shocked, she said, "Who are you? Why are you so strong?" Yang Chen, try to hide. Just hold him back. I'll kill this damn Tao Wu. Green Lightning Saint's pressure was greatly reduced. He became heroic again. Chapter 2798. Just now, Feng Chen and Huang Qiong had used the foundation of the Phoenix Seeks for Phoenix to unleash a move called Wrath of the Taowu, nearly injuring Saint Venerable Green Lightning. After he recovered from his shock, he asked for Long Chen's help. Indeed, no wonder the elders of the Phoenix race always go out in pairs. When the two of them work together, their combat power is not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Now that you've separated them, I can relax a lot. You just need to block Huang Qiong. After I defeat Feng Chen, I'll take care of that last Xueqi. Cyan Lightning Saint Venerable laughed as he unleashed a torrential barrage of attacks against Feng Chen. The azure lightning of the Thunderbolt Saint Tree filled the sky. At this moment, he finally had a chance to display his prowess. He was incomparably frenzied. Feng Chen didn't dare to kill him, but each and every move of his was aimed at killing Feng Chen. In terms of savagery, he surpassed Feng Chen. I don't care who you are. Since you dare to go against my Phoenix race and help Saint Venerable Green Lightning slaughter the innocent, you deserve to die. My Phoenix race will not let you off. Huang Qiong was worried about Feng Chen's safety. She immediately acted. At this moment, the countless purple feathers on her body glowed. Each feather had a purple water droplet that turned into ice crystals. Amethyst rain. Bang bang bang. The number of feathers on the Swanee's body equaled the number of amethyst rain that shot out. Long Chen was completely enveloped by the amethyst rain that was as sharp as a blade. The amethyst rain was comparable to a fortune divine artifact. It pierced deep into the Builderwood holy tree and produced a devastating explosion. Although it looked beautiful, it was actually extremely destructive. It should have come from the Taowu's unique water laws. Huang Qiong also wanted to defeat Long Chen as quickly as possible. Death World Dragon Gate. Both his hands transformed into a huge wheel. The Death World Dragon Gate opened and expanded, blocking in front of Long Chen. All the amethyst rain was absorbed by the Death World Dragon Gate. Long Chen wasn't injured at all. Saint Venerable Green Lightning had told him to conserve his strength. He only needed to block Huang Qiong. Naturally, he wouldn't fight to the death. Chaotic Time C. Controlling the time around Huang Qiong greatly affected her speed. Even though she had a vast amount of god power to suppress the rules of time, she could not get rid of it. It was like she was in the middle of a storm. Tempest of Ages. Huang Qiong was in the middle of this storm. Although she was a god king at the Great Perfection Realm, and her physique was extremely resilient, she was still injured by Long Chen's storm of time. For example, many of her feathers were broken. However, the Baian's recovery ability was extremely strong. No matter how many wounds appeared, they were all healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. You're not bad. Phoenix Qiong screamed and broke through the chaotic time reversal. At this moment, she displayed another kind of rule. It was similar to the power and luck of the Black Qilin. This was actually a righteous rule. At that moment, a terrifying strong purple light erupted from Lao Ai's body, drowning Long Chen's entire field of vision. That light was like a flame, burning his body. This was a righteous power, which was similar to Lingxi's pure immortal source energy. However, pure immortal source energy tended to purify while this light tended to judge and kill evils. Benevolence, righteousness, propriety, filial piety, and wisdom. These 5 words were like a hammer to Long Chen's primordial spirit. Each word was a test, an incomparably intense attack, a kind of torture. It had to be said that this was a mysterious rule unique to phoenixes. Long Chen couldn't understand it, and the intense attack made him dizzy. It was hard for him to resist, but he reacted quickly. When Lao Ai attacked, he also attacked. A beam of heavenly retribution, carried by the soul-shattering sword Qi, shot towards Phoenix Qiong. While she was using her benevolence, righteousness, propriety, filial piety, and wisdom to suppress him, the power of heavenly retribution pierced into her body. Phoenix Qiong cried out in pain. Her rule had been interrupted, so it seemed like Long Chen was stronger. Long Chen's heavenly retribution didn't use his full power. He didn't want Phoenix Qiong to be injured, so under his control, the power of heavenly retribution dissipated. Everything returned to normal. You. Phoenix Qiong looked at Long Chen in shock. She naturally knew that Long Chen had withdrawn the power of heavenly retribution. Otherwise, she would have been injured. Not bad. Let's continue. Long Chen acted as if nothing had happened. He continued to attack. He was prepared to waste a little more time. As long as the building wood divine reserve crystal was formed, there would be no problem. Brother, Xueqi is still under your control, right? Saint Green Lightning hadn't taken down Phoenix Cheong yet. He was worried that the building wood divine reserve crystal would form at this time. Don't worry, there shouldn't be a problem, Long Chen said in a low voice. He continued to fight against Phoenix Cheong. Just as he finished speaking, the light around the building wood divine reserve crystal disappeared. The huge crystal started to shrink. In an instant, it was only the size of a fist. It's formed. Everyone cried out in alarm. Saint Green Lightning quickly put down his opponent and rushed over. At this time, Xueqi actually recovered. In the blink of an eye, she kept the building wood divine reserve crystal. She turned and sneered at Long Chen. Do you really think you can suppress me? Idiot. With that, she immediately fled. Saint Venerable Green Lightning's expression changed drastically. He didn't have the time to reprimand Long Chen. Just as he was about to chase after Long Chen, Feng Chen blocked his path and mocked. Saint Venerable Green Lightning, where are you going? Your opponent is me. How can you run around? Scram. The Lightning Saint Tree furiously attacked. I'm really sorry. I didn't expect her to be able to break free. However, these two God Kings are hard to deal with. Long Chen said apologetically. Holy Sage Green Lightning was like a madman as he chased after Xueqi. However, Feng Chen was constantly intercepting him, so he couldn't catch up to Xueqi. In the blink of an eye, Xueqi disappeared into the starry sky and left his field of vision. If she returned to the phoenix nest, she wouldn't be able to retrieve the divine essence crystal no matter what. Damn. Saint Green Lightning was about to go crazy. Even when he looked at Long Chen, his eyes were bloodshot. Of course, all of this didn't matter to Long Chen because he could let Xueqi go. However, Xueqi couldn't take the building wood divine reserve crystal away. Someone was waiting for her. Two idiots. This is really funny. After fighting for so long, the building wood divine reserve crystal still landed in my hands. After escaping, Xueqi held the building wood divine reserve crystal and couldn't help but smile. She had vented her anger. In front of her was a boundless starry sky. She was heading in the direction of the phoenix nest, happily informing her elders that she had obtained the building wood divine reserve crystal. Suddenly, a light flashed in front of her. A beautiful woman appeared in front of her. That woman was like an immortal, ethereal and serene. However, when Xueqi saw her, she couldn't help but sigh in admiration. So beautiful. Just as she finished speaking, the building wood divine reserve crystal that she was holding in her hands was actually in her hands. Xueqi was stunned. What kind of method was this? She had unknowingly taken the building wood divine reserve crystal from her hands. Actually, Lingxi had just used the Big Dipper technique to snatch the building wood divine reserve crystal from her hands. This was much easier than she had imagined. She had thought that she would have to fight for it. This girl was a bit muddle-headed. When she saw Lingxi, she even forgot about the building wood divine reserve crystal in her hands. Lingxi put away the World Tree Divine Reserve Crystal and smiled faintly. If I were you, I would definitely hide something good after obtaining it. What was going on? It was clearly in her hands just now. Xueqi was about to cry. She looked at Lingxi in a daze. Although she still felt that the woman in front of her was very beautiful, she had snatched the building wood divine reserve crystal. Are you pregnant? Xueqi's gaze landed on Lingxi's abdomen. She was shocked. She immediately forgot about the building wood divine reserve crystal. Her eyes were filled with curiosity. She said with some surprise, "You're actually pregnant? Is there a child inside? When will it be born?" A crack appeared on the side and Kitten's head popped out. He looked at Xueqi with a sneaky look and said, "Little beauty, we meet again. It's really fate. We met twice in one day. The chances are not high." "It's you. You're with that guy just now." Xueqi was instantly furious. The building wood divine reserve crystal had actually been snatched by that guy. That guy could make her unable to move with just a glance. "Don't worry. We're not with those wooden people. We really need the building wood divine reserve crystal. We won't give it to those wooden people. I like you, so I snatched your building wood divine reserve crystal. You can treat it as a gift to us. Also, keep it a secret for us. Don't let those wooden people know." "Are you saying that they're wooden people?" That's really funny. Huh. Xueqi couldn't help but laugh. She thought, they're actually not with each other. That's really great. If Kitten followed them, their identities would be exposed. However, there was no other way. Lingxi could also judge people. Xueqi could tell that she was a good girl at a glance. She was really looking forward to how her character would clash with Kitten. She said, "My name is very similar to yours. We have one character in common. I'm called Lingxi, and you're called Xueqi." Lingxi, your name sounds better. Xueqi opened his eyes wide and looked at the two of them curiously. However, he was even more curious about the child in Lingxi's belly. Lingxi said, "We're not from the Building Wood Sacred Tree. Although we're currently at the Building Wood Divine Celestial Palace, we might not be helping them. Right now, it's just a temporary measure. We need to use the Building Wood Divine Reserve Crystal to restore the Fortune Divine Tool. Of course, we won't give it to the Building Wood clan. We're very sorry for snatching your thing. However, if there's a chance in the future, we'll repay you with other things. Please don't tell anyone about us. Just say that it was snatched by a mysterious person. Is that okay?" Xueqi tilted his head and thought for a while. Then he said, "It's okay. I don't think you're bad people. That big brother didn't attack me just now. As long as you don't let those wooden people get it, it'll be fine. The more things they get, the more they'll bully our Phoenix clan. Can I contact you often?" "Of course." Lingxi smiled faintly. At this time, Xueqi gave her a leaf. This should be the communication method of the Phoenix clan. Lingxi took it and said, "Remember, it's best not to reveal our information to your 5 Saint Emperors. Anyway, we won't harm your Phoenix clan. Even if we do reveal our information, don't let too many people know about it. We absolutely can't let the Building Wood clan know that we have the Building Wood Divine Reserve Crystal. Otherwise, we'll be in danger. Do you understand?" Xueqi nodded and said, "All right, it seems like you also want to beat those bastards." "Of course, I agree with you." The group wasn't full. Devil Star 297269272 can be added. Chapter 2799. She had planned to take the Divine Fruit Crystal and leave immediately, but Kitten seemed to be very close to this girl. Xueqi was sometimes a little fierce, but she was also very likable, so Lingxi revealed her identity in front of her. They didn't have to worry too much. Now that they had the Divine Fruit Crystal, Longchen was more and more confident about the origin dragon soul of the Spirit Dragon. He actually couldn't wait to create a supreme divine dragon. "Sister Lingxi, I'll use this tree talisman to contact you in the future. Don't lose my tree talisman," Xueqi said. Kitten rushed to say, "I won't lose it. I definitely won't lose it. It has nothing to do with you." Xueqi rolled her eyes and became fierce again. Kitten was so scared that he smiled embarrassedly. He didn't expect that Kitten, who was smiling mischievously at Ji Yuan, would be scared by this little girl. Although he didn't know how old Xueqi was. For gods and demons, sometimes age didn't mean anything, especially for them, who spent most of their time cultivating. "Then we'll go first. Xueqi, we'll come and find you next time." Lingxi waved goodbye to her. There wasn't any guilt in taking the Divine Fruit Crystal. After all, letting Xueqi get it first was part of Long Chen's plan. Long Chen just used her to deceive Green Lightning Holy Venerable. From today's experience, the overall quality of the Phoenix race was better than that of the Divine Tree race. They weren't as competitive as the Divine Tree race, so they were easier to get along with. Therefore, Long Chen didn't plan to have a conflict with them. Of course, the Divine Fruit battle hadn't come yet, so no one knew what would happen then. In fact, the significance of the Builder Tree's sacred battle to Long Chen was that it had given him sufficient time. During this period of time, he could seek out powerful opportunities on the Builder Tree. The Divine Fruit Crystal was an opportunity for him. With a whoosh, Lingxi disappeared in front of Xueqi and returned to Long Chen's God Kingdom. It wasn't far and could be reached in an instant. Xueqi was stunned and murmured, "What kind of law is this? It's not that the speed is fast, but that it directly disappeared. If he was fast enough, he could also create such an effect, but the feeling was different. In the past, the God King of Hell could also disappear in front of Long Chen, but that was because he was fast." After Lingxi's side was settled, it was time for Long Chen to leave. At this time, He was just delaying Huang Qiong. Saint Venerable Green Lightning's side had completely suppressed Feng Chen. Feng Chen had suffered serious injuries, but there was still some time before he was defeated. Saint Venerable Green Lightning, you don't have a chance anymore. Xueqi is about to return to the Phoenix Nest, and our Saint Emperors are about to arrive as well. You injured me, so the Saint Emperors will return to you. After Feng Chen said that, he suddenly gave Huang Qiong a look. The two of them broke away from their opponents and rushed towards the Phoenix Nest. They roughly knew that Xueqi was completely safe, which was why they dared to leave. After all, it was not easy for them to persist until now. Chase. Sacred Venerable Green Lightning's veins bulged, and his eyes were sinister. The meat that was about to enter their mouths was actually lost so quickly. Long Chen didn't leave. He said, "Let's go. If we don't leave now, we won't be able to leave when the enemy's experts arrive. It's already been a long time, and they should be arriving soon." At this time, the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal should be in the hands of the 5 Saint Emperors. Damn it. Green Lightning Saint was so angry that he almost died. He coldly glanced at Long Chen and said, "You dare to say that you weren't the one who released Xueqi in the end?" Long Chen couldn't be bothered to explain. He shook his head and said, "What benefits do I have? Are you still suspecting that I'm a spy from the Phoenix race? Actually, there's no need for that. If I stood on the Phoenix race's side, I could have taken your life this time. Then, together with the 5 Saint Emperors, we could attack your Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. As long as they can hold on, I and the other Phoenix race can destroy all your godly spirits. You guys are balanced, but my arrival will destroy that balance. Do you understand? I'm still standing on your side, but don't push me towards the Phoenix race." When the other party was tough, Long Chen was tougher than him. These words made Green Lightning Saint speechless. To be honest, Long Chen was worried that the 5 Saint Emperors would catch up. After all, he was the one who got the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal. If Green Lightning Saint still didn't leave, he would want to leave. "Let's go back first." Green Lightning Saint didn't dare to stay here any longer. The two of them quickly returned to the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. In fact, at this time, the 5 Heavenly Venerables came out to receive them. However, after hearing that the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal was taken by Xueqi, the 5 Heavenly Venerables' faces turned ugly. If the two of you had used your full strength, it wouldn't have been taken away by the 3 of them, right? Eastern Extreme Golden Wood Heavenly Venerable said in a deep voice. Green Lightning Saint said, "It can't be helped. I was the one who told Yang Chen not to show too much of his strength. After all, he had to prepare for the Builder Tree Sacred Battle. During that period of time, the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal was formed, which allowed Xueqi to take advantage of it. We were just unlucky. On the way back, the item had already been taken away by others. Hence, there wasn't much point in pursuing who was responsible." Long Chen remained calm. Although he knew that they must be secretly discussing how they would deal with him in the future, it wasn't certain who would deal with who in the future. After returning to the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace, Long Chen left first. He was in a hurry to use the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal to restore the Lingxu dual swords. Lingxi could do this. Hence, when he returned, she had already started. Just as he expected, Green Lightning Saint and the 5 Heavenly Venerables gathered together and secretly discussed. "Green Lightning, what exactly is going on?" The faces of the 5 Heavenly Venerables were very gloomy. Green Lightning Saint was the first to discover the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal. Green Lightning Saint shook his head and said, "To be honest, I'm not sure. But Masters, there's definitely something wrong with Yang Chen. If we let him stay here, I feel that something will happen sooner or later. It's better to kill him as soon as possible." Heavenly Venerables in the middle shook his head and said, "No, actually, I believe that he has nothing to do with the Phoenix clan. With his strength, it's impossible for him to be controlled by the Phoenix clan. However, he definitely has his own ambitions. Maybe he wants to rely on himself to dominate the Builder Tree Sacred Tree. This time, we have lost the Builder Tree Divine Essence Crystal. We must win the next Builder Tree Sacred Battle, and we must make use of Yang Chen's value. He's a human, so he definitely can't fight for the Phoenix clan. However, he can fight for us. From today onwards, we just have to keep an eye on Long Yang Chen until the end of the Builder Tree Sacred Battle." The other 4 heavenly venerables agreed. If ordinary people keep an eye on him, they will definitely notice. Let the heavenly venerables do it. Even the 5 of us have to keep an eye on him at all times to see what kind of ambitions he has. Green Lightning Saint asked, in other words, we can't kill him now. I think he's a dangerous person. The sooner we kill him, the better. West Pole Heavenly Venerable Waterwood said softly, don't worry, there's no one on the builder tree that we can't control. Although he said that, Green Lightning Saint was still angry. His intuition told him that he was definitely fooled by Long Chen today. Although Long Chen didn't seem to get any benefits in the end, when he thought about how indifferent he was as if nothing had happened, Green Lightning Saint felt frustrated again. The last time he was frustrated was when he was defeated. Being suppressed twice made him very depressed. He hadn't felt so depressed for countless years. He left the palace of the 5 heavenly venerables. As soon as he came out, Yu Yan, who was exquisitely dressed, was waiting for him outside. She quickly held Green Lightning Saint's arm and gently rubbed against it. She said in a sweet voice, Brother Green Lightning, I've been waiting for you for a long time. I heard that you're in the Phoenix clan. Scram. Green Lightning Saint wasn't in a good mood. His expression turned sinister as he casually flung the defenseless Yu Yan away. Yu Yan slammed heavily into the inner walls of the Builder Tree Divine Palace. With a loud rumble, Yu Yan was only a deity at the Taiji deity realm. Naturally, she couldn't endure such pressure. Her internal organs trembled as she coughed out a mouthful of blood and slumped to the ground. She didn't expect things to turn out like this. Yu Yan. Wan Qing happened to see this scene. In that instant, his eyes turned bloodshot. He simply forgot everything as he rushed over like a madman and helped Yu Yan up. The woman in his arms stared at Green Lightning Saint in a daze. Her expression was incomparably distorted, and her mind was completely blank. Scram. Green Lightning Saint indifferently said a single word as he prepared to leave. Stop right there. Wan Qing didn't know where he got his courage from as he roared in rage. When he saw Yu Yan's body and soul suffering such heavy injuries, his heart was bleeding. At this moment, his eyes were already bloodshot. She loves you, but you actually injured her. Green Lightning Saint. Wan Qing trembled and gnashed his teeth as he spoke. At this moment, Green Lightning Saint turned his head back in shock as he stared at Wan Qing in disbelief. He couldn't help but laugh. Wan Qing, are you sure you're talking to me? Wan Qing felt as though he was struck by lightning. Just as he was about to kneel down, the woman in his arms allowed him to hold on. Lowering his head, Yu Yan's expression turned sluggish. There was no need to mention how much pain she was in. Wan Qing, quickly kneel. Sovereign Emu heard the commotion and hurriedly ran over, blocking in front of Green Lightning Saint Venerable. He was extremely anxious, but in front of Green Lightning Saint Venerable, he was nothing. Green Lightning Saint Venerable didn't say a word and walked past Sovereign Emu. His cold eyes made Sovereign Emu not dare to move. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Wan Qing, reached out, and grabbed Wan Qing's neck. No! Don't kill him! Yu Yan woke up and started to cry. However, Green Lightning Saint kicked her away and coldly pressed Wan Qing onto his knees. He held Wan Qing down with one hand and raised his other hand, smiling at Wan Qing. This palm of mine can sever your cultivation of hundreds of thousands of years, returning you back to dust. Do you know why? Because you're really stupid. To think that you still don't know that you don't have the qualifications to speak loudly to me. Do you understand? Wan Qing was being suppressed by the godly might right now. Only now did he know regret. He looked at the palm of Green Lightning Saint that was covered in lightning, the pained expression on Sovereign Emu's face, and the weeping expression on Yu Yan's face. No, you can't kill him. Yu Yan crawled over. But sadly, Green Lightning Saint had never truly placed her in his heart. She was nothing more than a stupid toy. Enjoy it. Green Lightning Saint slammed down with his palm. Chapter 2800. However, this palm landed on Long Chen's hand. Long Chen blocked Green Lightning Saint Venerable with one hand and pulled Wan Qing out with the other. Wan Qing stumbled, thinking that he was already dead. Only when he bumped into Yu Yan did he wake up. He saw Long Chen and knew that it was Long Chen who saved him. Brother Wan Qing. Yu Yan crawled up with a pale face and supported Wan Qing, who was stumbling. Yu Yan, Wan Qing's voice was hoarse. At this moment, Long Chen had already let go of Green Lightning Saint Venerable's hand. He heard the commotion outside and realized that Green Lightning Saint Venerable wanted to kill Wan Qing. Although this would severely offend Green Lightning Saint Venerable, he saw that Wan Qing was pleasing to the eye, so he helped him. Yang Chen. Green Lightning Saint Venerable looked at him and couldn't help but laugh. He said in a low voice, "You are really strange. Why are you interested in such a lowly life? If I knew that you valued him so much, I would have spared his life." Looking at his devilish smile, it was obvious that although this guy said that, he probably hated Long Chen to the core. Long Chen could clearly feel his suppressed anger. "We are all on the same side. It wouldn't be good if lives were lost. That's why I couldn't help but stop you. I hope Green Lightning Saint Venerable won't blame me for being a busybody." Saint Sovereign Green Lightning looked past Long Chen and stared at Wan Qing. His gaze caused Wan Qing to tremble. It was as if death had already descended upon him. Wan Qing suddenly understood the meaning behind his gaze. He wasn't in a hurry to kill him, but once Long Chen left this place, there would be no one to protect him. At that time, Wan Qing would most likely die an even uglier death. "No, of course not. Yu Yan, let's go, follow me back." Green Lightning Saint Venerable's gaze landed on Yu Yan. Ha! Yu Yan let go of Wan Qing and didn't dare to move. She looked at Green Lightning Saint Venerable nervously and then at Wan Qing. Wan Qing's face was filled with pain. He wanted to shake his head and tell her not to go, but he knew that it was impossible. They didn't have the power to resist Green Lightning Saint Venerable. "I'm leaving." In the end, Yu Yan still walked over to Saint Venerable Green Lightning's side. But now, her beautiful dream was completely shattered. She could only live in the fear that Saint Venerable Green Lightning brought to her. "Brother, I'll be leaving first." Green Lightning Holy Sage pulled Yu Yan away. When he turned his head, only then could one see how ferocious his expression was. Long Chen had already made him very unhappy about the matter of the Divine Essence Crystal. This time, Long Chen had actually stopped him from killing people in his territory and challenged his authority. These two matters had directly touched his bottom line. It was already his limit to not fight with Long Chen at this time. In his entire life, he had never met someone he couldn't defeat and was afraid of. Wan Qing was still staring blankly at Yu Yan's departing figure. "Let's go. If you want to live, stay out of their business." Long Chen pressed on his shoulder. In the blink of an eye, they had returned to his residence. He was currently busy using the Divine Essence Crystal to nurture the Lingsu dual swords with Lingxi, so he had no time to care about Wan Qing. "Holy Sage Yang, I want to kill him." Suddenly, Wan Qing mustered up his courage and shouted at Long Chen. He was incomparably emotional at this moment. With tears in his eyes he said, "He brought Yu Yan back, but he'll still torture her. With his personality, it's impossible for him to treat Yu Yan well. I want to kill him and take Yu Yan away from here. I don't want her to suffer. I love her, and I don't want to be a weak man. Holy Sovereign Yang, I beg you, please fulfill my wish." Wan Qing knelt on the ground and kowtowed continuously in front of Long Chen. Long Chen was a little surprised. He didn't expect this guy to have such courage. This was the power of love. He couldn't help but ask, "She betrayed you, but you are still willing to do this for her?" "I'm willing. It doesn't matter if I live or die. I can't see her suffer." Wan Qing was still kowtowing heavily. "Why? There's no reason. I should do this." Long Chen's view of Wan Qing changed a little. Every life was fresh, and everyone was fighting against their own fate. He was like this, and so was Wan Qing. No matter how lowly a life was, it had its own dream, protection, and pursuit. The myriad world should be equal, and the strong should serve the weak. There shouldn't be a huge gap like the gap between Holy Sage Green Lightning and Wan Qing. Dream, protection, and pursuit. The two most important things were courage and love. Today, for love, Wan Qing had the courage to kneel in front of Long Chen. Not bad. Long Chen admired his courage and sacrifice at this moment. "If you want to achieve your goal, the first thing you have to do is wait," Long Chen said calmly. "Wait." Wan Qing raised his head in shock. "Yes, wait for the time to come. It won't be too long. If you don't even have this bit of control, your dream will only be a fantasy. Just wait quietly. There will be a chance." After saying this, Long Chen didn't pay attention to him anymore. He was also thinking of ways to find an opportunity. The most important thing now was to see how much the divine essence crystal could restore the Ling Su swords. Phoenix Nest. The highest place in the Phoenix Nest was the sacred place of the Phoenix clan. It was the place where the 5 Saint Emperors held their meeting. Only the Saint Emperors could enter. Xueqi, Feng Chen, and Huang Qiong had been summoned to this palace. The palace was dark. 5 strong gods were sitting in the darkness. Xueqi and the others came in and bowed. Feng Chen and Huang Qiong were more restrained, but Xueqi was more casual. She had been here many times. Feng Chen, tell us what you saw and heard today. One of the 5 Saint Emperors asked. Feng Chen stood up and said, Huang Qiong, Xueqi, and I heard Hua Wu's call for help. We knew that Green Lightning Saint Venerable was attacking the Sacred Leaf Continent, so we rushed over. On the way, we saw the Divine Essence Crystal forming. Green Lightning Saint Venerable and an unknown human were there. They fought over the Divine Essence Crystal. Huang Qiong and I fought Green Lightning Saint Venerable first, while Xueqi fought the unknown human. From then on, Feng Chen told him everything that had happened. After that, Huang Qiong added, that unknown human was very strange. In the beginning, when he fought with Xueqi, he used a strange law to suppress Xueqi. He made Xueqi unable to move, but he didn't hurt Xueqi. Then when Green Lightning Saint Venerable asked him to stop me, he could have defeated me several times, but he didn't do anything. Xueqi interrupted and said, also, the reason I was able to obtain the Builderwood Divine Essence Crystal was because he suddenly let me go. Later on, the beautiful big sister Lingxi took away my Builderwood Divine Essence Crystal. That big brother wasn't in cahoots with Saint Venerable Green Lightning. He used me to steal the Builderwood Divine Essence Crystal. Feng Chen and Huang Qiong roughly explained their situation. The 5 Saint Emperors let them leave first. Then, one of them said to Xueqi, Little Xueqi, do you know what law he used to imprison you? In other words, that human strength might have surpassed Green Lightning Saint Venerable's. He's almost at the Great Perfection God King realm, right? Xueqi thought about it and said, I don't understand the law at all. As for his strength, it seems like he's only at the Divine Monarch realm. However, he can control the entire scene, so it should be about the same. But you don't need to worry. Sister Lingxi said that they came from another world. They're just temporarily staying with the human race. After all, they're also humans. But she also said that she won't help the human race attack us. She doesn't look like a bad person. I'll tell you this, but you can't let others know that they took the Divine Essence Crystal. If the human race knows about it, they'll definitely be in danger. Is that so? The 5 Saint Emperors were still a little confused. Little Xueqi, why do you trust them so much? What if they're lying to you? Asked a male Saint Emperor. Xueqi laughed and said, I'm smart. That's impossible. Plus, they have a cat beast. It's quite cute, just like the Saint God in the painting. Saint God. The 5 Saint Emperors' voice trembled. Another Saint Emperor immediately said, Xueqi, you can't say things like that. According to the legends, the Saint God is an existence that saved our Phoenix race a long time ago. But that legend has passed too long ago. How can there be an existence like the Saint God in the myriad worlds now? The Saint God is so strong. Where did he go? Xueqi pouted and asked. This. No one knows. Let's not talk about this. We have to discuss this. If that unknown human helped them in the Builder Tree Sacred War, wouldn't it be even more troublesome for us to obtain the Builder Tree Sacred Soul? The human race is so aggressive. If we allow them to grow stronger, our Phoenix race will suffer a calamity sooner or later. Xueqi was also very angry and said, These humans are too despicable. They can't just sit still. They will only be satisfied when they occupy the entire Builder Tree Sacred Tree. If our Phoenix race becomes stronger, they will be more obedient. It's all because we aren't strong enough. However, we won't be like them, always wanting to kill people and occupy territory. They are obviously bad people, but Big Sister Lingxi is obviously a good person. She said that I don't need to worry. Anyway, they won't help the human race harm us. I heard from Hua Wu that the Green Lightning Saint Venerable attacked the Sacred Leaf mainland at first and captured her. She was about to say that the big brother was a guest, so she gave Hua Wu to the big brother. However, the big brother directly let her go, so she was able to inform us. Such a person can't be a bad person. The 5 saint emperors discussed for a moment and finally said, "All right, I'll believe your judgment for now." However, with such a huge change, the future is still quite dangerous. There are too many uncertainties in the Builder Tree Sacred War, so little Xueqi, in order to resist these future pressures, we're preparing to activate your true divine phoenix bloodline. Are you ready? Will it hurt? Xueqi asked with concern. It will, but it will be very strong in the future and surpass us. I'm afraid of pain. No. Xueqi was shocked and instantly slipped away. In the blink of an eye, no one knew where she went. Chapter 2801. Both swords have been restored to the order level. After a dozen days in the Divine Kingdom, the Builderwood Divine Essence Crystal was finally used up, and both swords were now at the order level. The Lingsu dual swords were originally mixed Yuan-grade destinable immortal treasures. The Lingsu dual swords had fallen and was not even a destinable immortal treasure, while the Su dual swords were still at the mixed Yuan grade. When the two swords met, they became one, and the Su dual swords were repaired, and both returned to the Genesis grade. Now, under the nourishment of the Builderwood Divine Essence Crystal, they had returned to the 5th grade order level. The power of the dual swords was actually very close to the mixed Yuan grade. At least in the Builderwood Sacred Tree, there should not be any destinable immortal treasure that could compare to the Lingsu dual swords. If I wield these dual swords now, I might be able to hold my own against an ultimate immortal king. At least I won't have to worry about my life. Especially with Lingxi's Shifting Stars Heavenly Rule Spirit Art. If I have a few more Builderwood Divine Essence Crystals, I might be able to restore the Lingsu dual swords completely. But I don't know if there are any left. Long Chen shook his head and said, "These things are born from the Builderwood Sacred Tree, and are very useful to destinable immortal treasures. If there are any, they will not keep them. They will definitely use them as soon as possible, so there shouldn't be any. There is still some time before the Builderwood Sacred War. We have to have the power to obtain the Origin Dragon Spirit before then." Of course, if there were no special circumstances, they would not go against the Phoenix tribe. "Big brother, the Origin Dragon Spirit is at the foot of the Builderwood Divine Celestial Palace. I can try to summon the Origin Dragon Spirit and see if I can attract its attention. If I can get the Origin Dragon Spirit to rush out from below, it would not be so difficult. After we get it, we can just escape. They might not be able to catch up anyway." Yang Lingqing suddenly said. "Why didn't you say so earlier?" Long Chen rolled his eyes. He would naturally have a different effect if he went to overturn the Builderwood Divine Celestial Palace and rushed out by himself. If he could not open the Builderwood Divine Celestial Palace in one go, his purpose would be exposed. Therefore, Yang Lingqing's idea was much simpler. "I don't know if I can succeed. I just feel that there is a connection. After all, I don't know much about the inherited blood essence of this spirit dragon. I'll give it a try now." Yang Lingqing quickly entered the right state to communicate with the Origin Dragon Soul of the Builder Divine Celestial Palace. Time passed quietly. Long Chen's attention was under the Divine Wood Celestial Palace. At first, there was no movement. After about 15 minutes, Yang Lingqing suddenly whispered, "I see it. It also sees me. It has no consciousness, but it's coming towards me." Just as Yang Lingqing finished speaking, the entire Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace shook violently. With a loud explosion, it seemed as though even heaven and earth were trembling. In the blink of an eye, cries of alarm came from outside. Long Chen rushed out and found that the outside was in chaos. All the gods were above the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace forest and looking around in shock. At this time, the Divine Builder Celestial Palace was still shaking, which meant that the Origin Dragon Soul was attacking the Divine Creation Artifact. The Divine Creation Artifact shook violently under the impact. "Continue." Long Chen and the other gods rushed out of the Divine Builder Celestial Palace. At this time, the 5 Celestial Venerables also came out, and they were very shocked. It's the Builder Tree Saint's soul. Why is there such a movement? For countless years, something like this has never happened. If it comes out, it'll be troublesome to get it back. The Central Celestial Venerable Desolate Wood was the master of the Divine Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. At this time, he had just awakened and used his overflowing divine power to suppress the Divine Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. The other 4 Celestial Venerables began to help, and the various gods also used a part of their strength. At the beginning, the Divine Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace was very noisy, but under the suppression of the gods, the Origin Dragon Soul seemed to be unable to break free. After all, the Origin Dragon Soul was not a real divine dragon, but a kind of brand, the core of a divine dragon's soul. It did not have the power to attack. Brother. Yang Lingqing was sweating. Stop. Long Chen said. Although he was pleasantly surprised to be able to communicate with the Builder Tree Saint's soul, the celestial venerables were not to be trifled with. Although they revered the Builder Tree Saint's soul, they would still suppress it and prevent it from coming out. This method won't work. We can only wait until we have the strength to defeat the 5 celestial venerables. Once we defeat them, the Origin Dragon Soul will naturally leave with us. Long Chen calmly returned. This matter caused a great disturbance in the Divine Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. The 5 celestial venerables naturally did not know that Long Chen had caused this change. They trembled in fear for a few days until they found that the Builder Tree Saint's soul was not moving anymore. Only then did they calm down. Long Chen cultivated in seclusion for 2 months, and his strength had improved again. He and Mo Xiaolang were now stuck at a bottleneck. One more step and they would be able to cross into a new realm. Xueqi contacted us. On this day, Lingxi suddenly had news. Kitten immediately could not wait to communicate with Xueqi. After that, Kitten said, "Boss, I have already arranged a meeting place with her. She is waiting for us there. Let's go quickly." If there was anything, Xu Fu could just say it, but Kitten insisted on meeting. Seeing that he was so excited, as if he had been injected with chicken blood, Long Chen could only fulfill his wish. He found an opportunity to leave the Divine Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. "That guy is still watching us," Lingxi said softly. "Yes, it has been 2 months." Long Chen shuttled through the void. There was a god secretly following behind him. Long Chen remembered that this was one of the 10 celestial venerables of the Divine Builder Tree Divine Clan. He was at the same level as celestial venerables, a consummate celestial venerables. His name was Celestial Venerables Blue Flame. Get rid of him. Long Chen entered the time-roaming dragon state and disappeared in front of Celestial Venerables Blue Flame in the blink of an eye. He accelerated a few times and completely shook him off. This time, Xueqi went directly to the human side. Long Chen could easily find her. "Where is Sister Lingxi?" Xueqi opened her eyes wide. She did not like to see Long Chen. "Little beauty, did you miss me?" Kitten jumped out and blocked Xueqi's path with a mischievous smile. "Go away, I don't want to see you." Xueqi glared at Kitten, scaring him. There was really a day when a fearless guy like him would be subdued. "Why did you ask us to come here?" Lingxi asked gently. "I sneaked out this time. I want to ask you guys who will become my friends. Can you take me away from here in the future?" Xueqi said with anticipation. "Why do you want to leave here?" Lingxi asked. Xueqi curled her lips and said, "Those old fellows are too annoying. They make me chase after Celestial Venerables Blue Lightning every day and make me awaken some bloodline these days. It really hurts. I think you guys can travel the myriad worlds. My dream since young is to travel the myriad worlds. It would be great if I could go with you guys. As a reward, no matter what you want, you can ask me for help. I can persuade the Saint Emperors to help you guys." Kitten immediately laughed and said, "No problem. I promise you on behalf of the divine nation's 1 trillion handsome men and beautiful women." Xueqi naturally did not know what 1 trillion was. But Long Chen wanted the Origin Dragon Soul. The Phoenix race should also value the Builderwood Sacred Soul very much. Even if Xueqi could agree, the Phoenix race might not agree. Xueqi had the personality of a child, so he said, "You go back first. I can promise you that when we are about to leave this place, we will look for you. Rest assured." Xueqi knew that Long Chen was the backbone of their group. With his promise, this matter was settled. Traveling the myriad worlds was indeed her dream since young. This was also why she was so excited when she heard that Lingxi came from another world. Long Chen understood that she did not know her destiny at this time. She was the hope of the Phoenix race. If she left, the Phoenix race would be suppressed by the human race in the future. However, what changes would happen to the human race in the future was still uncertain. If the 2 races could be balanced, it would not lead to the destruction of one side. It did not matter if Xueqi was willing to go with him. Kitten wanted her to go anyway. Then the first place I want to go is the fiend god Buzhou mountain. It is not far from the divine wood sacred tree. Xueqi jumped up excitedly and said as she jumped, "Fiend god Buzhou mountain, is it a world? How powerful is it?" Long Chen saw that she was so excited, so he asked casually. Xueqi rolled her eyes at him and said, "You're so ignorant. You don't even know about the fiend god Buzhou mountain. That's the pillar that supports the myriad of worlds. Born before the myriad of worlds were born, it's the largest mountain peak in the myriad of worlds, a pillar that holds up the heavens. It's not considered a world because there are no mortal beings there. Mortal beings can't live in the fiend god Buzhou mountain. That's the battlefield of gods and devils, a place that only gods and devils can go. It's a place that gave birth to countless creation artifacts, primordial chaos immortal essences, and treasures. It's a place that countless gods and devils yearn to fight. Countless gods and devils from the myriad of worlds can gather here to fight and comprehend the Tao." Xueqi was very excited, as if Long Chen had promised her to go to the fiend god Buzhou mountain. Such a place. Long Chen was indeed stunned for a moment, because they did not know that such a place existed in the myriad of worlds. The pillar of the 10,000 worlds, the largest mountain peak, the battlefield of gods and demons, the place where the gods and demons of the 10,000 worlds gathered. Just these titles alone were enough to make one breathless. Such a battlefield was exactly what Long Chen desired. It was the place with the most information and the fastest growth. Fiend god Buzhou mountain. Sky pillar. He remembered this place, but his heart was still calm. After all, he was still fleeing, and the most important thing now was to get the origin dragon spirit of the mystical dragons. But he thought that if the mystical dragons left something behind, it was very likely that it would appear in the fiend god Buzhou mountain. Chapter 2802. Blue Flame Saint Venerable is here. Long Chen sensed his approach and said to Xueqi, "The Builder God race has people following us. Go back to the Phoenix race first so we won't be suspected. If anything happens in the future, use the tree talisman to contact us. There's no need to come out. Then you have to promise to take me with you." Xueqi was afraid he was lying. "Don't worry, if he won't take you with him, I will." Kitten patted his chest and said, "I don't need you to take me with you." Xueqi rolled her eyes and ran away, leaving Kitten in the wind. What's so special about her? Long Chen looked at Xueqi and then at Kitten. Kitten pretended to be deep in thought and sighed, "I don't know. It's an ill-fated relationship. It feels like I've loved her before." His flirtatious words made everyone burst into laughter. "What are you laughing at? You mortals don't understand love." Kitten snorted and went back to sleep. At this time, Blue Flame Saint Venerable quickly approached. The others also went back. Swoosh! Long Chen appeared in front of Blue Flame Saint Venerable. This was a tall and sturdy man. His blue hair was like burning flames, and his deep blue eyes seemed to contain boiling lava. His skin was also slightly blue, and there was a faint flicker of fire. He was a perfection stage god king with extremely powerful attack power. He also had a very high reputation in the construction wood tribe, and there were tens of thousands of versions of his legend, which were spread among the people. "You're looking for me." Long Chen smiled at him. "Ha!" Blue Flame Saint Venerable was shocked and took a few steps back. He immediately smiled and said, "What are you talking about, Saint Venerable Yang? I just happened to pass by. Why are you here? Did you come out to relax?" Long Chen smiled. "Indeed, I left Songtian continent to see other worlds. So, I wandered around when I was free. I'm on my way back to Builder God's celestial palace." Blue Flame Saint Venerable, do you want to come with me? Blue Flame Saint Venerable shook his head. "I still have something to do. Go back first. I'll visit another day and ask Saint Venerable Yang about cultivation. Let's learn from each other." Long Chen arrived in front of him. As he brushed past him, he gently patted his shoulder and said, "Since that's the case, I'll take my leave first. See you later." Blue Flame Holy Senior was shocked. He thought that Long Chen was going to attack him, but it was just a casual touch. By the time he reacted, Long Chen had already left. He must have known that I've been following him. Yet, he managed to shake me off. He's toying with me. What is he doing here? Could he really be related to the Phoenix clan? The blue flame Saint Venerable was still following Long Chen. I'm a dignified saint sovereign, and yet I'm doing something like stalking him. How preposterous. If it weren't for the Builder Tree Holy War, the celestial sovereigns would have slaughtered him long ago. Even if they didn't, I wouldn't be able to hold it in any longer. Long Chen quickly returned to the Builder Tree God's celestial palace. Did he stay? Long Chen asked. Yes, no matter where he goes, I can get to his side in an instant. Lingxi nodded. This was the effect of stellar transposition. Next, we'll just have to wait. Long Chen was angry that Blue Flame Saint Venerable kept following him. He had been at the Builder Tree for so long and it was still silent. It was time to start the battle. But this time, he didn't attack. He let Lingxi, Mo Xiaolang, and Soyian attack. His main goal was to help Mo Xiaolang break through to the God King realm. It was impossible for the 5 celestial venerables to let the Blue Flame's holy venerables follow Long Chen all the time. The Blue Flame's holy venerables would also complain, especially after Long Chen found out this time. The celestial venerables changed to another holy venerable to monitor Long Chen at all times. This time, it was more secretive, and the Blue Flame's holy venerables were free. Most of the time, he was active in the Builder Tree God's celestial palace. Occasionally, he would head out, but he was more careful. He wasn't far from the Builder Tree God's celestial palace. This Blue Flame Saint Venerable isn't a good person. Maybe it's because of the sky-swallowing race's change. In their hearts, mortals aren't much. Deaths and injuries are just numbers. He left Blue Flame Saint Venerable's position. Lingxi could more or less see his words and actions. For example, every time he headed out, he would find talented young men and women and bring them back to nurture. But his methods were very rough. He would directly wipe their memories and even kill their parents. Then, he would start to instill in them that he was the one who created them. When he's far away, I'll attack. It didn't seem easy to wait for the Azure Flame's holy venerate to go far. 2 months ago, the opportunity finally came. This time, the Azure Flame's holy venerate headed towards the bottom of the Builderwood Holy Tree's trunk and arrived at the location of the roots. Finally, he followed the roots to a planet that had been pierced by the roots. Today is the day. Long Chen was still in the Builder Tree God's celestial palace. This way, he would have an alibi. And Lingxi's Big Dipper was very useful. Although the distance was very far, she had enough time to prepare. She could directly go from Long Chen's God Nation to where Blue Flame Saint Venerable was. Even on the planet above the tree roots, there were quite a few living beings. But to the living beings here, most of the sky was covered by the shadow of the Builder Tree. The reason the Blue Flame Saint Venerable had come here was because this planet was his. There were tens of thousands of young men and women on this planet, and they had all been nurtured by him. The conditions here were slightly harsh, and resources were scarce. Such an environment was more suitable for nurturing ruthless experts. He also hoped that his future disciples would become deities. This was a pitch-black planet. It was filled with cracks. Below the cracks was endless lava. The temperature was very high. There wasn't a single tree on the planet. Even if there was, it would quickly burn. The planet wasn't big, but there were tens of thousands of young men and women eating raw meat and drinking blood. Blue Flame Saint Venerable turned into a flame and appeared in the sky above the planet. The flame soared for 100,000 feet and condensed into Blue Flame Saint Venerable's appearance. He appeared in the vision of all the young men and women. The bright flame in the sky illuminated the entire planet. Seeing this flame, all the children hurriedly knelt on the ground and kowtowed. God! The children were incomparably respectful. They didn't dare to be negligent at all. Not bad. Many of you have made new progress. The voice of the Blue Flame Saint reverberated throughout the entire planet, rousing the spirits of the youths. However, at this moment, his voice turned cold as he said, "But you're still far from my requirements. Continue killing. I'll give you a year's time. There are a total of 33,383 of you here. After a year, 10 of you who are still alive will become my disciples. If more than 10 people are still alive, then all of you will die. Do you understand what I'm saying?" "Yes." Tens of thousands of people said with trembling voices. They already knew their ending. They remembered that when they first came, there were a total of 100,000 of them. Now, there were only 30,000 left. During this year, they spent their time in endless killing. If they killed one more person, they would have a higher chance of surviving. There were a total of 100,000 people, but in the end, only 10 would survive and become the Blue Flame Saint Venerable's disciples. Most of the time, they didn't want to become the Blue Flame Saint Venerable's disciples. They wanted to survive. Pain, fear, and the 70,000 people who died in despair. There was only 1 year left and there were only 10 survivors. They would definitely want to escape. But this planet was sealed. Whoever dared to escape would be turned to dust. It might even trigger the restrictions and cause the death of their parents who were still at home. So, no one dared to escape. They also didn't dare to hate the Blue Flame Saint Venerable. If they had any thoughts, they wouldn't be able to escape the Blue Flame Saint Venerable's senses. They would be killed. So, the most important thing for them to do was to hypnotize themselves and follow the Blue Flame Saint Venerable. This pitch-black land was filled with the blood and tears of too many young women. If this pitch-black planet turned blood red in the future, it would definitely be dyed red by blood. Very well. In 1 year I will descend again. I hope to see less than 10 people left. If you want to live, then kill to your heart's content. There's not much time left. The winner can become a god and control the world. The loser will become a ghost. The Blue Flame Saint Venerable laughed. The young men and women were all trembling. The Blue Flame Saint Venerable was leaving. The people on the planet didn't dare to look up. They only dared to look at the flickering blue flames imprinted on the ground in the sky. Suddenly, a wisp of white light appeared in the blue flames. Who are you? The Blue Flame Saint Venerable's surprised voice came from the starry sky. Everyone looked up. They could vaguely see that a fairy-like woman had appeared in front of the Blue Flame Saint Venerable. She was so beautiful and holy. Then a black-haired, cold-looking young man and a cute girl with a snake tail appeared. The three of them surrounded the Blue Flame Saint Venerable. The person who will take your life, said the black-haired youth. On the planet, the young men and women were extremely astonished. Someone actually dared to speak to a sky god in such a manner. Could it be that they were also sky gods? They wanted to take away a sky god's life. Instantly, there was an uproar. Everyone forgot about the slaughter as they looked at everything in the sky. Kill me? Haha, two fiends. One isn't even a fiend monarch, and the other is a primordial realm godly monarch. You actually want to kill me? I don't care where you came from or who you are, but if you dare speak to me in such a manner, you are dead. This is the Skywood Holy Tree. The Blue Flame Saint Venerable laughed maniacally. Didn't they know the huge gap between them? What answered him was the attack of Lingxi and company. When Mo Xiaolang became a sun-devouring fiend wolf, and when Soyeon transformed into Fiend Hua, these two experts suddenly appeared in the starry sky. The children on the planet suddenly hoped that they could defeat the Blue Flame Saint Venerable. They had an extremely fervent desire. And at this moment, Long Chen was chatting with Wan Qing when Blue Lightning happened to come again. He still acted as though he was very familiar with Long Chen. He said, "There's still 2 months before the Skywood Holy Battle. Are you ready?" He recommended a book, He Gem and Sword, the only. Chapter 2803. Saint Venerable Green Lightning's arrival was just in time. This way, he would have an alibi. Even if the 5 heavenly venerables suspected that he was related to Lingxi and the rest, they couldn't do anything to Long Chen without evidence. With the Divine Providence Crystal, Long Chen was even bolder now. Saint Venerable Green Lightning had just arrived, but he frowned deeply and looked at Long Chen with an unfriendly expression. "What's wrong?" asked Long Chen calmly. In fact, he knew that Lingxi and the rest had already started fighting with Saint Venerable Blue Flame at the distant root of the Holy Tree. The 5 heavenly venerables have gone out and are heading towards the root of the Holy Tree. "Do you know what's happening there?" asked Saint Venerable Green Lightning with narrowed eyes. Long Chen smiled and said, "Of course not. Could it be that the Divine Providence Crystal has also appeared there? Other small matters shouldn't alarm the heavenly venerables." Saint Venerable Green Lightning couldn't see any flaws in Long Chen. Saint Venerable Blue Flame is currently being attacked by 3 mysterious figures. They aren't the gods of our world. Saying that, he asked, "What a coincidence. You haven't been here for long, yet someone else has come. It shouldn't have anything to do with you, right?" Long Chen said solemnly, "Of course not. I set off from the firmament mainland alone." Saint Venerable Green Lightning, You aren't suspecting me, are you? Of course not. You are my brother. I know you the best. Why would I suspect you? Saint Venerable Green Lightning laughed. He paused for a moment before continuing. Moreover, it's just 3 primordial godly monarchs, yet they dare to attack Saint Venerable Blue Flame. It's just too ridiculous. The Heavenly Venerables would like to know who actually dares to attack our people. Don't worry. No one has ever dared to touch our people in our territory. That's good. Long Chen nodded with a smile. However, he could see the battle. On that pitch-black planet, in the sight of tens of thousands of young men and women, the Blue Flame Saint Venerable laughed wildly. He looked down on the world and shouted in a domineering manner, "These 2 girls are quite good-looking and have caught my eye. Since that's the case, you can be my concubines from now on." Now, his entire body was covered in deep blue flames. It was as though there was an endless amount of blue lava hidden in his body, ready to erupt at any moment. As he laughed, Lingxi and Mo Xiaolang launched their first round of merciless attacks. They used the method they had used to defeat Emperor Qing Su back then. One Heart of Heaven Art. Bone Adhering Demonic Flame. These 2 types of laws were released directly from within the body. The One Heart of Heaven Art came from heavenly rules and spiritual arts. As for the Bone Adhering Demonic Flame, although it came from the exploding Balrog demon, it was modified by Mo Xiaolang using the ancestral fire. Its might could only be described as terrifying. The thread on Lingxi's finger also wrapped around the Blue Flame Saint Venerable's body and the World Tree. As for Mo Xiaolang's bone-adhering demonic flame, it directly ignited the 9 underworlds demon ancestral flame and the Heavenly Emperor ancestral flame. At that time, the Blue Flame Saint Venerable was still arrogantly conversing with the 5 Heavenly Venerables. It's fine. I'll hold the 3 of them back. When you guys arrive, we'll capture them together. These fellows just need to struggle a little and they'll definitely be afraid. Just as he said this, the One Heart of Heaven Art and bone-adhering demonic flame descended. At that instant, the Blue Flame Saint Venerable was trembling in pain. The 2 types of powers were extremely terrifying. The One Heart of Heaven Art was currently destroying his internal organs. The World Tree was imprisoning him, restricting the use of his strength. The bone-adhering demonic flame was born on his bones. As they clashed, the 2 completely different ancestral flames clashed and exploded. No matter how strong the Blue Flame Saint Venerable's physical body was, he couldn't suppress such an explosion. After 3 consecutive cries, the Blue Flame Saint Venerable's flesh and blood splattered. He had used all his strength to suppress the One Heart of Heaven Art and force the bone-adhering demonic flame away. Blue Flame, what happened? When the 5 Saint Venerables heard his screams, they, who were on their way, were startled. No, I'll take care of them. He was enraged. He had actually been injured. Not only had he lost face in front of the 5 Empyreans, there were also tens of thousands of young boys and girls who deeply revered him. In their hearts he was a god, the ruler of the world. Lingxi and the others had actually made him cry out miserably. This was truly an eye-opener for those children. They stared blankly. They hadn't expected the Blue Flame Holy Venerable to be injured. At that moment, they looked at Lingxi and the others with great respect. Their eyes were filled with tears. Damned little things, I gave you a chance to live, but you refused. Don't blame me for what happens next. The Blue Flame Saint Venerate was enraged, and a towering flame ignited on his body. Originally, he had only wanted to delay Lingxi and the others, but now that he was enraged, he wanted to kill them directly. As for the 5 celestial sovereigns, they would naturally rush over quickly. Do you think Sacred Venerate Blue Flame will be defeated? Western Pole Heavenly Venerate Waterwood suddenly asked. Impossible. Southern Pole Heavenly Venerate Huamu said. Blue Flame Saint Venerate was cultivated by him, and he was considered his junior brother. He knew Blue Flame Saint Venerate's combat power the best. No matter how many initial divine kings there were, they wouldn't be his match. Central Pole Heavenly Venerate Wildwood said, I didn't believe it before seeing Yang Chen. However, Yang Chen is only in the Divine Lord realm on the surface, and he can do this. So it might not be impossible. Blue Flame is reckless and likes to achieve great things. In addition, he underestimated his enemy. No matter what, he will be at a disadvantage. Let's let him learn from his mistakes. At this moment, Eastern Pole Heavenly Venerate Goldenwood said, Don't you think it's strange? It has been many years since the gods and demons from the otherworld came to our Jianmu sacred tree. Now, two groups have come, and both are very strange. Yang Chen might be related to those three. After all, they might be around the same age. Now those three are attacking Blue Flame, and the person we sent to monitor Long Chen was Blue Flame. In that case, the 5 heavenly venerates were indeed suspicious. There are only 2 months left in the Jianmu Sacred War. Let's take another gamble. If Blue Flame can't win this time, let him suffer a little. As for Yang Chen, we'll pretend that we don't know anything before we have evidence. As long as he can help us in the Jianmu Sacred War, no matter what he does, we'll deal with him after it's over. After the agreement, the heavenly venerates moved quickly. With their speed, it wouldn't take them long to reach the battlefield. They didn't believe that anyone could escape their pursuit on the Jianmu Sacred Tree. Blue Flame Giant Wood. After being angered by the Tianyi Heart technique and the bone-adhering demonic flame, the Blue Flame Saint used his rules in a rage. Under the nervous gazes of the youths, flames gathered in the starry sky, and suddenly, an incomparably thick giant wood appeared, pressing down on the heads of Lingxi and the others. The giant wood burned with deep blue flames, majestic and heavy. This blue flame giant wood was too big. If it were to fall on the 3 of them, it would be enough to flatten them. Even if they managed to dodge, the blue flame tree would probably be able to pierce through the black planet if it continued to press down on it. You guys seem to want to save these children, right? Then hold on. If you can't, these 30,000 people will die in your hands. The Blue Flame Saint was expressionless and extremely cold. To him, these 30,000 people were nothing. Even if they died, he could capture another 100,000 people and let them continue to fight, and he would be able to choose 10 elites from the battle. It was so cruel and inhumane, but to him, it was nothing. Gods and devils were born to be able to dominate the masses. The blue flame giant would burn with towering flames, and for a moment, the entire planet was incomparably bright. The scorching light descended together with the Blue Flame Saint's laughter. The youths on the planet were frightened, and all of them started crying. Their cries were filled with despair. Of course, they couldn't dodge. The Blue Flame Saint had underestimated them. At this moment, only Xueqi went up to block it. Eternal black hole. As her gigantic body spun, it didn't take long for an incomparably huge black hole to block the planet and them. The blue flame tree burned with monstrous flames as it descended from the sky, suppressing them with the Blue Flame Saint Venerable's violent rage. Break! The Blue Flame Saint was very confident that he could definitely tear this black hole apart. However, what shocked him was that the Blue Flame Giant would actually sank into the black hole, disappearing just like that. The Blue Flame Saint had lost a large amount of energy for nothing. How is this possible? What kind of rules are these? The Blue Flame Saint was stunned. The black hole disappeared, and the youths on the planet escaped. At this moment, they truly understood that the 3 gods and devils were here to save them. Cruel imprisonment, killing the innocent. We came to the Builder Tree Holy Tree to kill you. Lingxi's gaze was as sharp as a blade. Long Chen had already used the Lingsu dual swords, so it wasn't convenient for her to use them. However, she still had many heavenly rules and spirit techniques. She had already cultivated 6 of them. Humph, what a joke. The Blue Flame Saint took out his life tree. A creator-grade life tree. In truth, it was equivalent to a creator-grade life tree. However, it was better to use than a creator-grade weapon. His life tree was a strange tree that burned with blue flames. Demon Flame Tree. After fusing, the Blue Flame Saint turned into a huge tree that stood proudly in the starry sky. His entire body was made of blue flames, and those branches and leaves were like fiery whips. There were tens of thousands of them. In front of this huge tree, even Mo Xiaolang and the others seemed extremely tiny. Before my Demon Flame Tree, are you guys prepared to be roasted into charcoal? The Blue Flame Saint's loud laughter rang out. His current appearance once again caused the people on the planet to be even more terrified. However, he didn't manage to scare Lingxi and the others. Xiaolang, Yan, let's attack together. Lingxi had the star transposition technique. She could move around in an instant. The Blue Flame Saint was unable to pinpoint her position at all. Green Snow. Lingxi made her move. Before the Demon Flame Tree moved, green snowflakes fell from the sky. So beautiful. Those green snowflakes floated on the flames of the Demon Flame Tree, but they didn't melt. Chapter 2804. Green snow was a unique sealing law. The falling snowflakes were not real snowflakes, but the power of laws. God Emperor Ling Su's laws of spirit contained many strange techniques. It was mysterious and strange, and at times, it could even produce unimaginable effects. This was also the reason why Lingxi, a mere primordial god king, could restrain the azure flame Saint Venerable. Of course, the most important reason was that she used a portion of Long Chen's power through the 3 lifetimes threads. This was the reason why she was able to suppress the azure flame Saint Venerable. With the support of Long Chen, Lingxi could only possess limitless power. Just as the devil flame tree appeared, under Lingxi's vast green snow law, countless snowflakes descended, drowning the devil flame tree and even freezing it. In just an instant, an incomparably huge green snow flower floated in the starry sky, freezing the devil flame tree within this law. Seal. The combination of the green snowflake and the blue flame tree was a perfect picture. Under the seal of the green snowflake, the azure flame Saint Venerable was injured to a certain extent. In the long run, he might even be heavily injured. Under this torture, the azure flame Saint Venerable was even more enraged. He activated the power of the flames in his body and finally exploded, blasting the green snowflake. But under the suppression of the green snowflake, the blue flames on the demon flame tree were already dispirited. The azure flame Saint Venerable roared in anger. He had just broken free and was about to counterattack when Lingxi suddenly appeared behind him at an extremely close distance. With a light tap of her finger, she pointed at the center of the demonic flame tree and a sword light pierced through it. Heart-shattering sword finger. Another heavenly rule spiritual technique. Go and die. The azure flame Saint Venerable's flames expanded and was about to swallow Lingxi. But at that instant, Lingxi disappeared before his eyes and appeared far away in the sky. The attack from the heart-shattering sword finger did not disappear. The azure flame Saint Venerable cried out in pain again. This time, it was the damage to his primordial spirit, causing him to tremble uncontrollably. Azure flames, what's wrong? You have to hold on. We will need some time before we can come over. The 5 heavenly venerables were a little anxious. Previously, they had only thought that Saint Blue Flames would be slightly punished. They had not expected him to be so magical. Under the heart-shattering finger sword, the flames on the demon flame tree of the Blue Flames Holy Venerate could no longer be controlled. At this moment, Mo Xiaolang, who had been lying low for a long time, appeared in front of him. Gather heart flame. The Blue Flame Saint Sovereign was shocked. Lingxi had scared him out of his wits, and when he suddenly saw Mo Xiaolang, he was overwhelmed with shock. He hurriedly gathered all the branches and leaves at one point, and poured all the flames into this point. This was a rather tyrannical law. He had gathered all the flame energy at one point, and when it exploded, the power produced was unimaginable. Scram. The Blue Flame Saint stabbed the heart-gathering flame at Mo Xiaolang. What he didn't expect was that Mo Xiaolang didn't retreat. Instead, he charged forward and tore down the heart-gathering fire, swallowing it in one gulp. You're courting death. The Blue Flame Saint Sovereign was stunned. He could not help but want to laugh out loud. He had never seen such a stupid opponent before. The might of the heart-gathering flame was extremely strong, far surpassing that of the blue flame tree from before. But to think that Mo Xiaolang would swallow it. As long as the Blue Flame Saint Sovereign caused it to explode, Mo Xiaolang would definitely turn into dust. Explode! The Blue Flame Saint Sovereign roared. But at this moment, Mo Xiaolang rushed at him once more. He opened his mouth and spat out 2 balls of flames. They didn't attack the Blue Flame Saint Sovereign, but collided in front of him and exploded. The collision of 2 types of ancestral flames was the true explosion. Boom! The branches and leaves on the body of the Blue Flame Saint Sovereign shattered one after another. Blue flames rained down, covering the entire world. Where's the heart-gathering flame? The Blue Flame Saint Sovereign was stunned. Why didn't the heart-gathering flame explode? That was one of the laws that he was the proudest of. Spirit-splitting art. Just as the Blue Flame Saint Sovereign was retreating from the explosion, Lingxi suddenly appeared behind him. The pure white light in her eyes shone brightly and her pure immortal source energy burst forth. That tender palm of hers brought with it an endless amount of power as she imprinted it on the demon flame tree's law core. Spirit-splitting art. This was the most shocking killing move out of all the 6 heavenly rule spirit arts that Lingxi knew. This was the most intense tremor, even stronger than the heart-shattering sword finger. The heart-shattering sword finger dealt with the law core while this spirit-splitting art struck the world tree directly. The world tree was connected to the God Palace. The moment the spirit-splitting art was activated, the connection between the world tree and the God Palace was broken. At this moment, the blue flame Saint Sovereign lost his source of energy. The God Palace was the core of one's power. Everyone's God Palace was different. Long Chen's was a living being while the blue flame Saint Sovereign's was a blue flame. His source of energy might be able to recover after some time, but Lingxi and the others didn't give him the chance. Wang. The blue flame Saint Sovereign's body trembled violently. There was a loud explosion. What followed was the most painful and panicked scream of the blue flame Saint Sovereign. Lingxi had already left his back, but the spirit-splitting art had turned him into a cripple for a short period of time. It was even worse than the time rupture. Most of the God Palaces were broken. Of course, this was also because Lingxi had good timing and Mo Xiaolang had cooperated with her. On the pitch-black planet, the youths were in an uproar. They watched in shock as the blue flame Saint Sovereign returned to his human form from the demon flame tree state. He was riddled with injuries and his face was pale. At this moment, the sun-devouring direwolf spat out countless types of divine flames, forming a flaming lotus that surrounded the blue flame Saint Sovereign. What is he trying to do? The youths watched on in a daze. Let me go. Our heavenly venerables are about to arrive. The blue flame Saint Sovereign didn't expect that he would be defeated so badly. Now that he was surrounded by the flaming lotus, his defeat was already very miserable. He didn't expect that he would be killed in the Builder Tree's territory. For a deity, being defeated and dying in battle were two different things. Many deities couldn't be killed unless they had power that far surpassed their own. Fire-forbidden region. Mo Xiaolong's eyes were cold. He opened his huge mouth and the flaming lotus began to shrink. Arg! The law of devouring descended on the blue flame Saint Sovereign. When he discovered that he had been completely turned into food, he panicked and let out a scream of despair. Heavenly venerables, save me, save me! The blue flame Saint Sovereign was on the verge of crying. Everyone on the planet heard it. They were very familiar with such a voice because they were like this most of the time. Unfortunately, Mo Xiaolang did it cleanly and directly devoured the blue flame Saint Sovereign. Lingxi's spirit avatar spell finally finished him off, which was why it was so easy for Mo Xiaolang to devour him. When the flaming lotus entered Mo Xiaolang's mouth, the battle was already over. It was unknown when the 5 heavenly venerables would arrive, so it was time to prepare to leave. Of course, the 5 heavenly venerables sensed that blue flame Saint Sovereign had finally lost his breath. Their expressions were originally rather relaxed, especially when they were getting closer and closer to the battle. There was still about 45 minutes to go. In their opinion, even if blue flame Saint Sovereign had been taught a lesson, he should be able to last a few days against 3 primordial realm godly monarchs. But the situation was getting worse. Blue flame Saint Sovereign was constantly being defeated. In the end, he was seriously injured. At this moment, the heavenly venerables were already somewhat anxious. But in the next moment, something even more terrifying happened. Although they didn't know what exactly happened, they could guess. Blue flames has been devoured. Heavenly Venerable Desolate's expression changed drastically. Who actually has such a devouring art? How is that possible? Blue flames is dead. The 5 heavenly venerables' expressions changed drastically as they were horrified. Anything they said was superfluous. They could no longer care about their lives. As they gave orders, they split up slightly and charged towards the battle spot where Lingxi and company were fighting. At this moment, they were extremely shocked. How many years had it been since a holy venerate and above had perished? The value of a holy venerate was incomparable. The death of any one of them was an extremely heavy blow to the human race, especially Heavenly Venerable South Pole Fire Wood. He had a very deep friendship with Blue Flame Saint Sovereign. Kill. We must find these 3. We must. The 5 heavenly venerables' rage swept through the world. They didn't dare let the Phoenix race know of this news. What? Holy Venerable Green Lightning jumped up, his face filled with shock as his body trembled. What's wrong? Long Chen asked in a pretentious manner. Blue Flame Saint Sovereign has perished. Holy Venerable Green Lightning panted heavily as azure lightning flashed in his eyes. Wan Qing, who was outside, also heard this news and nearly fell to the ground. Blue Flame Saint Sovereign. He thought of Long Chen. That's right, he knew that it had to be Long Chen who did it, but Long Chen was here. Were they killed by those three? Weren't they said to be three primordial godly monarchs? Long Chen asked with a frown. Although he had done it, he still had to put on an act. Holy Venerable Green Lightning narrowed his eyes as he looked at Long Chen. However, he recalled what the Heavenly Venerables had said. They just had to endure for another 2 months. Furthermore, there was no evidence to prove that this matter was related to Long Chen. He could only try his best to ease the situation. That's right, it's them. Now, the Heavenly Venerables have arrived and are dealing with them. Although Blue Flames is dead, these three foreign race godly monarchs must die as well. He said in a cruel tone. If Long Chen was an accomplice, he would definitely be nervous when he heard this news. However, Long Chen didn't feel anything. He said, I'm rather curious as to who did it. Since the Heavenly Venerables have arrived, it seems like these three won't be able to escape even if they grow wings. What a joke. Through the love thread of 3 lifetimes, he even knew how Lingxi had done it. How could he be deceived by Holy Venerable Green Lightning? Furthermore, he roughly knew the distance. It was still a long time before the Heavenly Venerables arrived. Holy Venerable Green Lightning couldn't probe Long Chen, so he could only say, this matter can't be made known to the Phoenix race. I hope brother can keep it a secret. Long Chen said, don't worry. Even without Holy Venerable Blue Flames, I will definitely do my best in the Divine Tree's sacred battle. Chapter 2805. However, he was still slightly shocked. He did not know where this god Emperor Ling Su came from. At the very least, the 6 heavenly rules and spirit techniques that Lingxi was cultivating were rather extraordinary. Although they were not as domineering as the ancestral dragon laws, they were very strange and powerful. They did not seem like something that a mere god emperor could create. Especially that spirit-splitting art. Lingxi was just an initial god king. Just by using a little of her strength, she was able to cripple the Azure Flame Saint Venerable. Lingxi could almost defeat the Azure Flame Saint Venerable with just those few heavenly rules and spirit techniques. In this battle, Xueqi did not help much. She only used the Azure Flame Tree once and the battle ended in a short time. When the Azure Flame Saint Venerable disappeared, the remaining 30,000 people on the planet knelt on the ground. They were suffocating and their faces were filled with disbelief. After a long time, they looked at Lingxi and the others with tears in their eyes. Mo Xiaolang was currently suppressing and digesting the Azure Flame Saint Venerable. Soyun was accompanying him. Lingxi wanted to leave immediately but seeing so many people trapped here, she quickly came down. It was not difficult for the Azure Flame Saint Venerable to seal the restrictions here. Lingxi easily resolved it. In fact, all of them had something similar to a curse on them. It was most likely connected to their families. Lingxi also helped them resolve it. Such a goddess touched the hearts of the young men and women. All of you can go home now. Hurry up. In a while, the 5 heavenly venerables of the Skywood Divine Celestial Palace will be here. At that time, all of you might not be able to leave. Lingxi gently informed everyone. These young men and women were not old. They had been forcefully captured and brought here to experience cruel torture. Thank you. They had escaped death and the image of Lingxi was deeply engraved in their hearts. Then, they left in the direction of the tree roots. Although they were slow, they took care of each other. One day, they would be able to return to their original homes. After a year of training with the Azure Flame Saint Venerable, they had a certain level of strength. Let's go. It would take about a quarter of an hour to return to Long Chen's divine kingdom. Even with time transposition. Mo Xiaolang and Soyun returned to Lingxi's divine kingdom, while Lingxi stayed alone in the starry sky. The white light on her body became a beacon in the hearts of tens of thousands of young people. When they fled, they couldn't help but look up at Lingxi. Until one time, when they looked up, Lingxi suddenly disappeared. Where did he go? I don't know. Perhaps they were specially arranged by the heavens to save us. That's right, that heavenly deity Taoist deserves to die. Today, they could finally voice out the dissatisfaction in their hearts. Within the Builder Tree Divine Heavenly Palace, Lingxi was back. Mo Xiaolang and Soyun also came out. It was really dangerous this time. That blue flame Holy Venerable is quite powerful. Without Big Brother Long Chen by my side, I'm still a little nervous. Soyun heaved a sigh of relief. She was no longer nervous. Lingxi had also completed her mission. She had matured a lot. In the past, Long Chen had to worry about her every day. But now there was no need. Her growth made her even more charming in Long Chen's heart. However, that blue flame holy venerable is too disgusting. His death isn't worth pitying. Xueqi thought of those young men and women and felt uncomfortable. Mo Xiaolang was currently in the midst of raising his realm. In a few years, he would definitely be able to reach the God King realm. In addition to the two ancestral flames, he could even devour the blue flame holy venerable's laws. After he succeeded, he would probably be able to approach Long Chen once again. He might even be able to defeat a perfect stage God King alone. Their battle experience and awareness would still be stronger than Xueqi and Lingxi. Have a good rest. Long Chen was very satisfied with their performance this time. The stronger their team was, the closer they were to the origin dragon soul. Making them stronger was also his responsibility. This was also something Long Qinglan had entrusted to him. Who would be the next candidate? There were still 2 months left. Long Chen waited for the few people in the divine nation to settle down before asking Green Lightning Holy Venerable, "Did the Celestial Venerables kill those 3 enemies?" Green Lightning Holy Venerable said awkwardly, "Not yet, but they have been captured. They will probably be brought back." Previously, in order to test Long Chen, he had lied. Now that the Celestial Venerables hadn't arrived yet, he was too lazy to lie. He said, "I still have things to do, so I'll leave first. I'll come back in a few days to tell you about the plan for the Building Tree Sacred War." After he left, everyone laughed. This fool thinks he's so smart, but he's not even 1/10 as smart as this young master. Kitten said proudly. "Chen, when Xiao Lang becomes a God King, are we going to deal with this Green Lightning Holy Venerable?" Lingxi asked. After all, this Green Lightning Holy Venerable was the most brutal and deserved to die the most. Long Chen shook his head and said, "He's not enough. If he falls, this place will be in complete chaos. I'll see if there are other suitable holy venerables in these few days." Yen has stayed in her current realm for a long time. It's time for her to recover as soon as possible. He wanted to make Xueqi and the others stronger. As for himself, he was confident. About half an hour later, the 5 celestial venerables arrived at the previous battlefield. Where is he? The 5 celestial venerables gathered together. Why is it that after searching everywhere, he seems to have disappeared into thin air? Everyone's expression was ugly. "I don't believe that we can't find him in our Jianmu sacred tree with 3 God Kings. We must find these 3 before the sacred battle. The 5 of us will do it ourselves. From today onwards, each of us will be in charge of an area. I don't believe that he can escape from the 5 of us." Okay. Losing the Blue Flame Saint and not being able to find the culprit was a huge loss. I asked Green Lightning to keep an eye on Yang Chen. He might be the culprit. The West Pole Jellyfish Heavenly Venerable said and contacted the Green Lightning Holy Venerable. Then, she said helplessly, Green Lightning said that he lied to Yang Chen just now, saying that we have already caught the 3 murderers, but Yang Chen wasn't worried at all. These 3 people should have nothing to do with him. Then, who could it be? Look carefully. They can't just disappear. Before the sacred battle of the Jianmu sacred tree, the Blue Flame Saint had fallen. Such news was bound to cause panic, and the 5 celestial venerables didn't dare to announce it at all. The 5 of them searched in the territory of the Jianmu sacred tree for a full half a month, but they couldn't find any traces of Lingxi and the others. Seeing that the sacred battle of the Jianmu sacred tree was right in front of them, they had to give up. They didn't know the rules of the time passage technique, so naturally, they didn't know that Lingxi was in Long Chen's kingdom of God. Whether the 3 murderers were from the Phoenix race, or together with Long Chen, or even all 3 of them, the Celestial Venerables thought for a long time and had to take a gamble. In fact, the Blue Flame Saint wasn't a candidate for the sacred battle, so his death wouldn't affect the sacred battle. In fact, Long Chen had always been very obedient, and spent most of his time cultivating in the Jianmu sacred tree. The Celestial Venerables only slightly suspected him, but they couldn't be sure. They still hoped that Long Chen could help them win the sacred battle. On this day, South Pole Celestial Venerable Hua Mu suddenly came to see Long Chen. This man with red hair came to Long Chen. The death of the Blue Flame Saint didn't seem to be a big deal to him. He smiled and said to Long Chen, "Your Excellency Yang Chen, I came here this time mainly to explain the sacred battle of the Jianmu sacred tree. There is still a month before the sacred battle. At that time, we will arrange the order of battle according to the opponent's appearance. I hope you can listen to our arrangements." Long Chen smiled and said, "Heavenly Venerates don't need to be polite with me. Since I promised you, I will definitely do my best in this building tree sacred battle. I will do whatever Heavenly Venerates ask me to do. I have also troubled you these past few days. If I don't put in some effort, I will feel bad." South Pole Celestial Venerable Huamu shook his head and said, "You came from afar and are our guest. It's indeed a bit unreasonable for us to ask you to fight for us." "It's okay. I left the firmament mainland to make friends. It's my honor to make friends with 5 celestial venerables," Long Chen said politely. Having said that, South Pole Celestial Venerable Huamu changed his tone and said, "Thank you very much. If you can help us win, I have a small gift for you. It's an order-level primordial immortal spirit called the Thousand-Eyed Fire Tree. It's mainly because it's not fully mature yet. Otherwise, I could give it to you now." Although he said that, Long Chen understood what he really meant. If Long Chen could help them win, he would be rewarded with an order-level primordial immortal spirit. This was the most valuable gift they could give him. Regarding the Thousand-Eyed Fire Tree, the first thing that came to Long Chen's mind was that it might be useful to Mo Xiaolang. It sounded like a fire-type treasure. However, he quickly realized that Mo Xiaolang had devoured the blue flame holy sage. The 5 celestial venerables must have guessed that the sun-devouring demonic wolf liked to devour flames, so they used the Thousand-Eyed Fire Tree to test him. If Long Chen showed any interest in the Thousand-Eyed Fire Tree, he would have fallen into their trap. They were testing Long Chen for the final time. Long Chen thought that it was a close call and hurriedly said, "The Thousand-Eyed Fire Tree. The laws I cultivate have nothing to do with flames, so I'm afraid I won't be able to use it. It's definitely precious to celestial venerables, so it's better for you to keep it. There's no rush. We'll talk about it when the Thousand-Eyed Fire Tree matures. No matter what, as long as you win for us, we will definitely reward you handsomely." Long Chen smiled and said, "It's mainly because the 5 celestial venerables took action. I'm just going through the motions, so it can't be considered a contribution. However, I might want to stay here for a few more days in the future. I hope the celestial venerables won't mind that I'm a bother." "That's definitely not a problem. You can stay at our builder tree for as long as you want. We will naturally welcome you." After exchanging a few more words, Celestial Venerable's South Pole Firewood left. His goal was very simple. Firstly, he wanted to test Long Chen. Secondly, he wanted to entice Long Chen to help. However, what he didn't know was that the Blue Flame Holy Sage was just the beginning. Long Chen was already looking for his second target. Very soon he found this target. As a god of the Building Tree clan, I should report him to the Sky Sovereign. Wan Qing's heart trembled. But at this time, he thought of the Blue Flame Saint Venerable and Yu Yen. His heart trembled even more. He had a monstrous hatred for the Blue Flame Saint Venerable. He wanted to wait for Long Chen to kill the Blue Flame Saint Venerable before he made his decision. After returning, Long Chen mainly paid attention to Mo Xiaolang. After about a day, Mo Xiaolang had successfully devoured the Blue Flame Saint Venerable. His cultivation had skyrocketed, and he had rushed to the Taisher God realm. He had become a god king who could dominate an area. The 3 of them were now true god kings. They were only missing Long Chen. Moreover, with Lingxi and Mo Xiaolang's special characteristics, they might be able to deal with a perfect god king alone. It was time to let Xueqi recover a little. After devouring the Blue Flame Saint Venerable's rules, I can use the 2 ancestral fires better. It's just that the 9-9 Burning Heaven mystic technique I cultivate is only at the creation stage. I might be at a disadvantage. It was the same for Long Chen. The primordial divine dragon heavenly calamity tome that the Curse Realm Guardian had given him was not yet at the sequence level. At present, in terms of the nature of the power, he would be at a disadvantage if he were to fight a god spirit that had cultivated the sequence-level boundless divine technique. Of course, it would not be easy to find something suitable for them in the Jianmu sacred tree. Perhaps they would have a higher chance of finding something like Mount Buzhou, a place where many gods and demons gathered. Are you confident that you can defeat the demon Venerable Holy Venerable quickly? Long Chen asked the 3 of them. The difference from the last time was that Mo Xiaolang had become stronger. Mo Xiaolang nodded and said, I'll be the main attacker this time. We should be much faster than last time. After all, Sister Lingxi's heavenly rule will greatly restrict the opponent. It will be much easier to fight. All right. If we can't do it, we'll just retreat. Just don't let the 5 heavenly venerables catch us. To be honest, this time was more risky than last time. However, it was almost the last time. Long Chen was accumulating his capital and waiting for the last day to explode. Holy Venerable Yang, when can I kill Holy Venerable Green Lightning? Wan Qing couldn't help but ask boldly. Soon. Long Chen smiled. At this pace it would indeed be soon. Not long after, the demon Venerable Holy Venerable left the Jianmu Sacred Tree Palace. He had stayed in the Jianmu Sacred Tree Palace for the shortest amount of time and was often outside. Among the 10 Holy Venerables, he was the only one who had built so many demon temples. Usually, there were some disturbances and he had to personally take care of them. Long Chen and the others were slightly nervous. They waited for the demon Venerable Holy Venerable to leave. Of course, he couldn't go as far as the Blue Flames Holy Venerable. Perhaps it was related to the Blue Flames Holy Venerable's death. Although the demon Venerable felt that he had surpassed the Blue Flames Holy Venerable, he was still cautious and didn't go too far. Very quickly, he arrived at a place where there was a huge black city below. It looked like a ghost city. At this time, the city was filled with rivers of blood. Both sides were fighting, the righteous side and the disciples of the demon temple. It seemed like the demon temple had done too many evil things. Many righteous people had gathered together to destroy it. Heavenly Devil God. When the demon Venerable appeared in the sky, the disciples of the demon temple were stirred. They were incomparably fanatical and their eyes were bloodshot. Our Heavenly Devil God has appeared. Damnable righteous disciples, you dare attack our demon temple? Now that you've angered the Heavenly Devil God, you'll all die without a burial. You'll never be able to reincarnate. This was the demon temple's celebration. It was the righteous disciples' doomsday. When the demon Venerable appeared, they all turned pale and couldn't help fleeing. They had all grown up listening to the terrifying rumors of the demon Venerable. If the demon temple hadn't been protected by the demon Venerable, they wouldn't have been able to survive until now. Run! The people who were about to attack the demon temple immediately fled. The crisis had been resolved before the demon Venerable had even attacked. Insignificant ants dare to destroy my demon temple? You're truly courting death. The demon Venerable's sinister voice rang out in everyone's ears. The righteous disciples' hearts were filled with grief. They were done for. Just at this time, a white light flickered in the sky. Everyone was horrified to see 3 youths standing beside the demon Venerable. To be able to stand beside the demon Venerable, they had to be divine spirits. But looking at their ferocious appearance, it seemed they wanted to fight the demon Venerable. It's you! Screamed the demon Venerable. He was incomparably shocked. He knew that the Blue Flame Saint Venerable had died at the hands of these 3 people. So at this moment, he didn't say anything and directly informed the 5 celestial venerables. 4 of them were still searching for them outside the Skywood Divine Celestial Palace. You must hold them back. We'll be there soon. Not even a quarter of an hour is needed. The celestial venerables immediately went berserk. This time was different from the last time. The Blue Flame Saint Venerable was too far away. This time, the celestial venerable closest to them was only a tenth of the distance. As long as the demon Venerable could hold on for a while, they would definitely be able to kill Lingxi and the others once they arrived. Eternal Black Hole. Su Yan followed the plan and transformed into Fiend Hua. She charged into the starry sky and created a huge black hole above the Fiend Demon Holy Venerate's head. The black hole devoured everything and pulled at the Fiend Demon Holy Venerate. However, her primordial godly monarch strength was temporarily unable to pull it away. However, it still affected the Fiend Demon Holy Venerate to a certain extent. The main attackers were Mo Xiaolang and Lingxi. Mo Xiaolang had already transformed into a sun-devouring fiend wolf. His body was covered in flames. Heavens! Someone is fighting a heavenly fiend god. What's going on? The people below who were about to fight stopped. Even the righteous disciples didn't flee. They stood there in a daze, watching the battle between the gods. Insignificant tricks. You might be able to fool trash like Blue Flame, but you can't fool me. The demon Venerable laughed. He estimated that the nearest celestial venerable would arrive in less than a quarter of an hour. It would be a joke if the other party wanted to kill him in such a short time. Besides, although they were powerful, Blue Flame Saint Venerable had lasted for so long. He would definitely last longer. Heart of Heaven Art. Lingxi immediately gave him a warning. Before he attacked, the Heart of Heaven Art's laws were born in his body. The sharp threads began to pull. The demon venerable cried out in pain. Heart-shattering sword finger. From the physical body to the primordial spirit, there was almost no way to block it. He could only take it head-on. In just an instant, the demon Holy Venerate was hit twice in a row. His face turned pale and his smile froze on his face. You! The demon venerable was enraged. He swept up his violent divine power to destroy the Heart of Heaven Art. At that moment, the sun-devouring fiend wolf rapidly approached and enlarged in the demon venerable's eyes. Gather. Heart. Fire. This was a law that the demon venerable was extremely familiar with. Chapter 2807. It was the same rule and the same principle. When Mo Xiaolang used it on the ancestral fire, the real difference was shown. For example, he was currently condensing two kinds of ancestral fire at a single point. In the past, before he had the heart assembling flame, he could only collide two kinds of ancestral flames together to form an impact. However, it was much more terrifying now. The heart assembling flames rule was to condense all the flames into a small point. This point might be even smaller than a grain of sand. At first, the demon Saint Venerable saw two extremely terrifying flames on Mo Xiaolang's body. One was the cold Nine Underworld's demon ancestral fire, and the other was the scorching firmament Emperor ancestral fire. Either one of these two flames would make the demon Saint Venerable extremely fearful. He was still being tortured by the one heart technique, so the heart-gathering flame came. On Mo Xiaolang's body, the two kinds of flames condensed in the center of his two canine teeth. The vast and overbearing flame surged crazily into the point the size of a grain of sand. It was as if the chaotic power of the entire world had been instilled into this point. The demon Saint Venerable had seen the blue flame Saint Venerable use the heart-gathering flame before. He had also resisted it, but the feeling of the two was completely different. This stemmed from the difference in the two flames, especially since the two kinds of ancestral fire had completely opposite attributes. One was hot and one was cold. When they condensed at a point, something terrifying happened. To the demon Saint Venerable, the most shocking thing was why Mo Xiaolang would use the heart-gathering flame rule. This was the rule that the blue flame Saint Venerable had created. Even if there were similarities, could it be exactly the same? He had heard that a demon wolf had swallowed the blue flame Saint Venerable. Could it be? He could digest the rule. Mo Xiaolang had prepared for a long time. Almost in an instant, the two kinds of ancestral fire and hundreds of kinds of divine flames had merged into a central point. At this time, he had already rushed in front of the demon Saint Venerable, who was restrained by the one-heart technique, and released the heart-gathering flame. Scram! The demon Saint Venerable was furious. However, he had been restrained by the one-heart technique just now. Just as he was about to counterattack, Lingxi's other rule had arrived. It was blue snow. Snowflakes descended and froze the fiendish sovereign in a very short time. The fact that Lingxi could utilize Long Chen's powers was one of her heaven-defying abilities. She didn't need to worry about the exhaustion of her powers at all. All she had to do was to unleash all the heavenly rules she knew. With her by her side, any battle seemed to be easier than ever. Of course, this time they wanted to finish off their opponents as soon as possible. A speck the size of a gravel hit the green snow. Of course, Lingxi would not allow the cyan snow to obstruct the heart-gathering fire. When the heart-gathering fire descended, she opened a small hole in the cyan snow, allowing the heart-gathering fire to enter. Then, of course, it exploded. Below, the two sides that were still fighting stared blankly at this scene. They watched as the demon Saint Venerable was frozen. They looked at the terrifying black hole in the sky. The black hole did not seem to be targeting them. Otherwise, they would have been sucked into the demon Saint Hall. This is a heavenly deity that slays demons and devils. Let's hurry up and kowtow to him. The righteous disciples all knelt down. At this moment, the blue snow exploded into pieces. The entire builder tree trembled. The demon Saint Venerable's body was charred black. Black and white flames mixed together on his body. He stared blankly at Mo Xiaolang. At this moment, he had suffered severe injuries in all aspects. This made it difficult for him to even move. How many years had it been since he had suffered such severe injuries? The demon Saint Venerable's mind was starting to blur. Heavenly Venerable, save me, Buzz. Lingxi's soul-splitting technique hit his divine kingdom. The demon Saint Venerable was completely crippled. Time was of the essence. The Heavenly Venerables were probably even crazier now. At this moment, the heavily injured demon sovereign lost his ability to resist and was swallowed by Xueqi, who was already prepared, into the black hole. Below, everyone stared blankly at this scene. In the blink of an eye, Demon Hua and the sun-devouring demonic wolf returned to their human forms and returned to Lingxi's divine kingdom. Only a beautiful woman was left in the sky. Her white robes fluttered in the wind like an immortal. Everyone was dumbfounded. Boom! In the distance, a fiery light attacked. It's the South Pole Heavenly Venerable Fire Wood. He arrived first. Lingxi closed her eyes. This place was very close to the Builder Wood Divine Celestial Palace. She didn't need too much time to prepare for the stellar transposition technique. Demon Woman, let's see where you can escape to this time. The South Pole Heavenly Venerable Fire Wood watched as the Demon Saint Venerable was swallowed. He was furious to the extreme. On the other side, even the West Pole Heavenly Venerable Earthwood had arrived. Both sides surrounded Lingxi. There was no way for her to escape. The two Heavenly Venerables were like catching a turtle in a jar. The other three Heavenly Venerables were almost here. This time, they had to capture Lingxi no matter what price they had to pay. Otherwise, the Builder Wood Divine race would be finished if this continued. Don't even think about leaving. The South Pole Heavenly Venerable Fire Wood rushed over instantly. Everyone looked at him in shock. Most of the sky was now covered in flames. It was an endless sea of fire. That's one of the 5 Heavenly Venerables. The Demon Saint Venerable is so evil. Why would he help the Demon Saint Venerable? Everyone couldn't help but worry about Lingxi's safety. At this moment, the Heavenly Venerables looked at Lingxi with fiery eyes. In their eyes, Lingxi would not be able to escape this calamity. But at this moment, Lingxi suddenly smiled. In the blink of an eye, she disappeared into thin air in front of the Heavenly Venerables. Me. The South Pole Heavenly Venerable Firewood stood in place, stunned. This is the space law. She disappeared in an instant. The entire Builder Wood Divine Tree could no longer find her trace. Even if this was the space law, it couldn't reach such a level. She really disappeared into thin air. The perception of the Heavenly Venerables was enough to cover the entire Builder Wood Divine Tree. Unfortunately, Lingxi disappeared just like that. Anger, grievance, and depression. Damn it. The South Pole Heavenly Venerable Firewood roared. Divine fire descended from the sky. Under his anger, countless territories were rained down. Especially below him, countless living beings were instantly drowned in flames. This time, under the South Pole Heavenly Venerable Firewood's rage, hundreds of thousands of living beings were directly killed in the rain of fire. The Demon Saint Hall below was directly burned to the ground, turning into scorched earth. South Pole. The central Heavenly Venerable Desolate Wood arrived at this time and glared at him. Only then did the South Pole Heavenly Venerable Fire Wood suppress his anger. The 5 Heavenly Venerables gathered together again. I saw it. This woman is too strange. She actually disappeared into thin air. What kind of law is this? She might not have disappeared. Let's look again. Maybe she is nearby. The 5 Heavenly Venerables started searching desperately. The death of the Demon Saint Venerable could not be concealed this time. Many people were bound to know about it. However, after 2 hours, they discovered that no matter how hard they tried, they still couldn't find a single person. As long as this woman is still around, we can't do anything. Maybe the sacred venerables will die one by one, and it might even be us in the end. The Heavenly Venerables discussed for a while. Finally, the central Heavenly Venerable Desolate Wood said, "The Builder Tree Sacred War is about to begin. This is likely the helper that the Phoenix race found. From today onwards, all the gods will return to the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. No one is allowed to leave until the Builder Tree Sacred War is over. When the Builder Tree Sacred War is over, we will cast an inescapable net and capture these 3 people." Okay. Then, as expected, all the gods returned to the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. None of them dared to leave. However, the news of the demon Saint Venerable's death still spread throughout the world. It even reached the Phoenix race. It was said that the one who killed him was a human woman, a demon wolf, and a creature that looked like a demon. Of course, Xueqi knew who it was. The Builder Tree Sacred War was about to begin. Such an unforeseen event made everyone anxious, especially within the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. The demon Saint Venerable is dead. When Wan Qing heard the news, he almost fell to the ground. His face was deathly pale as he thought back to the time when Long Chen had met the demon Saint Venerable. During this period of time, Long Chen had spoken to a few Saint Venerables, but the time with the demon Saint Venerable was the strangest. At that time, Wan Qing had the same feeling that Long Chen had observed the demon Saint Venerable a little more. It is said that it was killed by 3 people. There is one more thing that you don't know. Now it has spread. The blue flame Saint Venerable has also fallen, and it was before the demon Saint Venerable. It is said that this was done by the Phoenix race. Now, the 5 heavenly venerables are preparing for the Builder Tree Sacred War. There are only 20 days left. Alright, let's hope that we can win. Wan Qing quickly returned to Long Chen. He saw that Long Chen was resting with his eyes closed, concentrating on his cultivation. Looking at his calm appearance, no one would suspect that he was the one who killed the demon Saint Venerable. You're back. Long Chen opened his eyes and smiled at him. Saint Venerable Yang, I want to ask you, go ahead. Demon Saint Venerable, is it you? At this point, Wan Qing did not dare to continue. He looked at Long Chen in awe. Long Chen smiled and said, "What do you think?" Seeing that Yang Kai had no intention of killing him, he remembered that he had seen Yu Yen recently. Seeing her miserable expression, it was obvious that the Green Lightning Saint Venerable did not treat her well. He gathered his courage and asked, "When will it be the Green Lightning Saint Venerable's turn?" "Soon." "Can I help?" Wan Qing asked nervously. "Of course, this time, I still have to rely on you, Wan Qing." Long Chen stood up, patted him on the shoulder, and said, "In life, you have to be bold enough to do what you desire. When the opportunity comes, if you still cower like a turtle when it's time, then you're a coward, and you're living in pain." "Thank you." Wan Qing's eyes were filled with tears. "When the time comes, I will tell you exactly what you want to do. For now, you just have to wait patiently." Long Chen smiled faintly. The holy battle of the Builder Tree was coming soon. Long Chen planned to launch the final attack on the Builder Tree Saint Spirit, the Origin Dragon Soul, on that day. There were still 20 days left. He just had to wait patiently. In any case, Xueqi had already recovered to the Perfection Realm God King realm. Chapter 2808. The Blue Flame Saint Venerables and the Demon Saint Venerables allowed Mo Xiaolang and Xueqi to rise to a higher level. Their battle prowess increased greatly. Now, Mo Xiaolang, Xueqi and Lingxi all had battle prowess that was close to Long Chen's. In the future, Kitten, Yang Lingqing and even Xueqi might join them. Of course, this included Long Chen's unforgettable Li Xuanji. Of course, this was a story for another time. As time passed, more and more people in the God Nation became true divine dragons. The first batch of ultimate divine dragons, the Dragon Emperors, were also growing stronger. Gradually, they had strength that was close to that of a God King. Some were even comparable to primordial God Kings. More and more God Spirit level experts appeared in the God Nation. The dragons were getting bigger and bigger. Long Chen wasn't completely sure about the supreme divine dragons yet. He wanted to observe for a period of time. Anyway, this couldn't be rushed. After all, he had yet to obtain the origin dragon soul of a supreme divine dragon. There was less than half a month left before the Divine Tree Sacred War. Lingxi was improving steadily. It wouldn't be long before she mastered the next heavenly rule. At that time, she would probably enter the Great Circle God King realm. God Emperor Ling Su's final destination would most likely be the Extreme God Emperor. After all, Lingxi still had 11 types of heavenly rule. She still had about 2/3 of them left. First, it was the One Heart of Heaven. Then, she learned 5 in the Origin Dragon Palace. Then, during the 5 years on the Massacre Dragon Boat, she learned another one. Out of a total of 18 types of heavenly rule, She had already learned 7. As for Long Chen himself, he was waiting for the last chance. If he wanted to obtain the origin dragon's soul, he had to become a great circle god lord. Xueqi, where are you trying to escape to? Behind her were 5 brilliant lights. They were red, white, purple, cyan, and yellow. The Phoenix clan had 5 types of pure-blooded phoenixes, which were the fiery red vermilion bird, the cyan wan, the white swan, the yellow swanee, and the purple swanee. They were all good at unique phoenix rules, such as benevolence, righteousness, propriety, filial piety, and wisdom. At the same time, each of them was good at a different rule, such as vermilion bird's fire, and swanee's water. The 5 dazzling lights chasing after Xueqi were actually the 5 saint emperors of the phoenix race, the leaders of the 5 sacred clans. It's over, I'm done for. Xueqi's little face was taut and full of worry. She mustered all of her strength to escape, but she had already been discovered by the 5 saint emperors and was about to be caught. Heavens, why am I, Xueqi, so unlucky? As soon as she finished speaking, the vermilion bird emperor grabbed the back of her neck and lifted her up. He said angrily, Xueqi, you're not young anymore. Why are you still acting like a child? Now that the Phoenix clan needs you, you're running away because you're afraid of pain. Beside her were the Xuanqi emperor, the Xuanqi emperor, the Cyan Wan emperor, and the Swan emperor. The Cyan Wan emperor was a gentle and lovely woman. She gently took Xueqi away and rebuked, "Don't scare little Xueqi." Then she stroked Xueqi's head and said, "Little Xueqi, activating the Phoenix bloodline will bring you endless benefits. Not only will it make you stronger, but it will also bring you endless possibilities in the future. You will become a divine phoenix, the ruler of our Phoenix clan. We spent so many years of effort to create you, and we're about to succeed. You can't cause any trouble. If you cause any more trouble, we'll get angry and lock you up for 10,000 years. Are you afraid?" 10,000 years. Xueqi's eyes widened. She was scared out of her wits. The Cyan Wan emperor understood her the best. She knew that with her personality, what she was most afraid of was being locked up. Sure enough, Xueqi's entire body softened when she heard this. She said hurriedly, "You've misunderstood. I just came out to relax. Why would I run away? Besides, activating the divine phoenix bloodline is good for me. Why would I refuse? Go back quickly. It's almost time." The 5 saint emperors couldn't help but laugh when they saw her so scared that she couldn't speak coherently. They caught Xueqi, scared her, and brought her back. To be honest, Xueqi really made them not know whether to laugh or cry. Everyone else was envious of her fate, but she couldn't activate the divine phoenix bloodline because she was afraid of pain. "Xueqi, we phoenixes must maintain the purity of our bloodline. This is our clan's tradition. We love peace, but humans are different from us. They are born with the desire to invade and fight. We've already lost so many Builder Tree sacred wars. If we continue to lose and allow them to flourish, one day, our Phoenix clan will be forced to leave the Builder Tree and our home. So, even if it goes against our clan's tradition, we still had no choice but to create you. Do you know what the Divine Phoenix means?" Xueqi shook her head. "The Divine Phoenix is the ancestor of our clan. It was the first phoenix. One split into 5 and gave birth to our 5 sacred clans. Then, it gave birth to countless phoenix clans today. As for you, we created you with the purest bloodline of the 5 sacred clans. You're not just the combination of the vermilion bird and Taowu, but the combination of the 5 sacred clans. If you can activate the divine phoenix bloodline, then you'll have all the power of the 5 sacred clans. You'll become a 5-colored phoenix, which is also the divine phoenix." "Ah, doesn't that mean my hair will have 3 more colors?" Xueqi said in astonishment. "I'm not sure about that." Seeing that this little girl was most concerned about this problem, the Saint Emperors were speechless. Anyway, it was useless to say anything to Xueqi, so they directly brought her back to the Holy Divine Hall. "From today onwards, the Holy Divine Hall will be closed until we come out." The 5 Saint Emperors gave such an order. The Builder Tree Sacred War was about to begin. Everyone in the Phoenix clan was extremely nervous. They roughly knew what kind of changes would happen to Xueqi. "Xueqi." "Yes, what's up?" "The next time you come out of the Holy Divine Hall, you will be the emperor of our Phoenix clan. I hope that by then, you will be able to mature until you do your duty. We, the Phoenix clan, Do not seek to occupy the entire Builder Tree sacred tree. We only seek to protect our home, so that all our people can live and work in peace and contentment. Can I still order you when the time comes? Xueqi's eyes turned, and her smile became strange. You can. The Vermilion Bird Emperor was a little helpless. This little girl was too strange, and always made people feel depressed. That's great. When the time comes, I will order the 5 of you to dance in front of me and kiss each other. The 5 Saint Emperors almost coughed up blood. They were all immortals who had cultivated for tens of millions of years. As the leaders of the 5 Saint clans, they danced and kissed each other. What kind of monster have we painstakingly raised? The 5 of them looked at each other, their eyes filled with helplessness and wry smiles. But the plan had to continue. They couldn't close the door so much. Xueqi was still young. When she grew up and experienced more things, she would know what responsibility and protection meant. The other phoenixes guarded outside the holy divine hall of the phoenix nest every day. Time passed bit by bit, and in the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. There was still no movement inside. There were only 3 days left until the holy divine battle of the Builder Tree. At this moment, a 5-colored light shot from the top of the holy divine hall into the starry sky. The 5-colored light pierced the sky, which was equivalent to the height of 10 Builder Trees. For a moment, the entire sky above the Builder Tree sacred tree was covered by the 5 colors. What is this? They felt that there was supreme authority and divine might in the light. But soon it disappeared. The human clan was far away, so they couldn't see it clearly. But on the side of the phoenix nest, a large area around it was now covered by the 5-colored light. Along with the 5 kinds of light, the 5 kinds of power were a kind of emperor-like aura. That aura was ancient and heavy, so all the phoenixes couldn't help but kneel on the ground and worship the 5-colored light. The divine phoenix was born. When the light gradually dissipated, everyone could clearly see the most gorgeous phoenix in history above the phoenix nest. She had 5 colors on her body, and every color seemed to be sprinkled with golden powder. Every detail was perfect. The phoenix was a beautiful creature, and the body of the divine phoenix was even more perfect. All the phoenixes were envious and worshipped. Around the divine phoenix were 5 saint emperors. They had all transformed into phoenixes. Although they were slightly larger than the divine phoenix, in terms of temperament and authority, they were not as breathtaking as the divine phoenix. This divine phoenix was the combination of all the phoenix's beauty. From today onwards, Xueqi is the divine phoenix, the ruler of the Phoenix clan. All the Phoenix clan, including the 5 saint emperors, will listen to the divine phoenix's orders. We firmly believe that the divine phoenix will lead the Phoenix clan to victory in the holy divine battle of the Builder Tree, build a stable and beautiful home, and protect all the Phoenix clan. Divine Phoenix, Divine Phoenix. From today onwards, probably not many people would call her Xueqi. Xueqi looked at everything in a daze. Billions of people bowed their heads and worshipped her devoutly. At the moment when her bloodline had awakened, she had indeed felt the existence of responsibility and protection. That was the responsibility of a peak bloodline. The mission bestowed by her bloodline moved her deeply. Fighting for the survival of a clan was such a glorious thing. This kind of mission was actually similar to Long Chen's, but Long Chen's was more tragic and vast. It required more desperate counterattacks, and it was more difficult. She was different from Long Chen. At least in terms of her mentality, she was still a child. Hence, she did not react for a very long time. Everyone please rise. Xueqi was a little sluggish. After a while, she finally reacted. It seemed that the commotion was too great, and it was not very good. Thus, she returned to her human form. After activating the bloodline of the divine phoenix, even in her human form, her temperament had undergone a major change. From a girl, she had become an emperor among the phoenixes. Every gaze and every action was filled with authority and temperament. This was a huge pressure on her bloodline. She had become noble, dignified, and pure. In the past, she could only be considered a beauty. Although she still looked the same now, she was intoxicatingly beautiful. At least, although Di Yao was also noble, she could not compare to her. Her hair has really turned into 5 different colors. Tomorrow, at the Tribe of Interest, Supreme Dragons, there would be a post announcing that the first 20 readers who joined the Supreme Dragon Army would be able to become characters in the book. Chapter 2809. Xueqi was taken aback. She had imagined that it would be ugly to have 5 colors mixed together, but now it seemed that it was not the case at all. Instead, it was beautiful, which made her very satisfied. What she did not know was that even her pupils had 5 colors at this moment. They were 5 concentric circles. The core was red, the second circle was green, then white, yellow and purple. At this moment, her pupils were still rotating slowly around the center, like a 5-colored vortex. Greetings, Divine Phoenix. The divine spirits of the Phoenix race were still extremely excited. Get up, get up. Xueqi was a little impatient. These guys were too formal. What was so good about kneeling down? However, she discovered something that made her very happy. Her realm had already reached the great perfection realm of the godly king realm. Moreover, she had gained many new abilities, some of which she hadn't even seen before. In terms of rules, the Phoenix rule was still there. Then, there were 5 other rules that belonged to the 5 sacred clans. Finally, there was a black rule that was a mysterious Tao seal. Even she didn't know what kind of rule it was. Samsara. Xueqi touched it slightly and only got this information. Forget it. My head hurts. I need a good rest. Xueqi thought that no one could control what she wanted to do at this time anyway. Divine Phoenix, don't go. The Builder Tree's sacred battle is in 3 days. The 5 divine emperors stopped her again. I know. I will definitely beat that green lightning holy supremacy into a sorry state. After Xueqi finished speaking, she ran away like a wisp of smoke. However, seeing that she was running in the direction of her residence, the divine emperors were not worried anymore. This child. The 5 looked at each other and smiled. They still did not know whether to laugh or cry. Fortunately, she succeeded. Her future is limitless. We have succeeded. That's right. With the Divine Phoenix, we can obtain the Builder Tree's sacred soul. Although we do not need it, it will be a disaster for us to let the humans have it. The 3rd last day, the 2nd last day, the 1st last day, the last night. Tomorrow, the 5 Empyrean Venerables would lead the 10 Saint Venerables and all the God King level powerhouses to the World Tree Heaven Sacrificial Altar, at the border of the 2 races to engage in the world-renowned World Tree Holy Battle. The Holy War of the Builder Tree was the most important event in the whole world, even for the mortals. It happened once every 100,000 years, and the vast majority of mortals had never experienced the Holy War of the Builder Tree. This was a contest between the dominating gods of the whole world, and it was the final war between the human clan and the Phoenix clan. The winner would obtain the soul of the Builder Tree. The Builder Tree Saint's soul could ensure the prosperity of a clan for 10,000 generations. It had long been spread among the common folk. Tomorrow would be the most exciting day for the entire Builder Tree. Even mortals might not be able to see the scene of the great battle, but they could understand from the sounds, the commotion of the battle, and the vibrations of the entire Builder Tree that the Builder Tree Sacred War was happening. It was even rumored that every time the Builder Tree Sacred War happened, a large number of mortals would be killed by the aftershocks of the battles between the gods. As soon as the sun rose, the 2 armies set off for the official battle at noon. Green Lightning Saint Venerable had already come to greet him. In another 4 to 6 hours, Long Chen would arrive at the entrance of the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace and gather with the 5 Empyrean Venerables and the other God Kings to head to the World Tree Heaven Sacrificial Altar. In this vast night, Wan Qing was a little anxious. He asked Long Chen, Saint Venerable Yang, tomorrow is the Holy War of the Builder Tree. If you help them obtain the Builder Tree Saint's soul, I guess, if you have no value to them, they will probably target you. After all, they still have some doubts about the deaths of the Blue Flame Saint Venerable and the Demon Saint Venerable. Otherwise, South Pole Fire would Heavenly Venerable wouldn't have used the 1,000-eyed fire tree to test you. In fact, Long Chen naturally understood what Wan Qing was saying. He was now hoping that Long Chen would give him a chance. He couldn't bear to see Yu Yan's appearance every time. Seeing her eyes collapse and being tortured, yet she still had to stay by Green Lightning Saint Venerable's side and let him torture her. Wan Qing's heart ached every time. There were still about 4 hours before the gathering time. Long Chen calculated and felt that it was about time. Lingxi was also almost done with her preparations. Is the sealed boundary settled? Long Chen asked. It's done. Lingxi nodded and replied. The 7 heavenly rule spirit techniques she had successfully cultivated were Single Heart Technique, Heart-Shattering Sword Finger, Heavenly Domain Quicksand, Green Snow, Soul Fission Technique, and revolving star passage technique. There was also a heavenly rule spirit technique that Xueqi had never used before. That was the sealed boundary. The sealed boundary was a completely sealed world. If one was imprisoned in the sealed boundary, it was equivalent to disappearing from the world. No information would be transmitted out. Long Chen had tried it before. If he was imprisoned in the sealed boundary, even the 3 lifetimes emotion thread would not be able to communicate with Xueqi. Even the 3 lifetimes emotion thread would not work. If others were imprisoned in the sealed boundary, it would be even more secretive. Of course, the defensive power of the sealed boundary was average and could be easily broken. It wasn't like green snow, which was a complete sealing technique. Wan Qing, the heavenly venerables have ordered that for safety's sake, no deities are allowed to leave the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. The deity guarding the gate blocked him. Wan Qing bitterly shook his head and said, "Brother, don't joke around. Those fellows are targeting godly kings. I'm just a small character. If I stood in front of them, they probably wouldn't even bother to kill me. In any case, I'm just a small character that no one cares about. I'd better go out and relax." In fact, Wan Qing was also one of the deities guarding the gate. These people were his friends. In the past, Yu Yan was also with them. Back then, they were all extremely envious of Wan Qing for having someone he loved among the deities. When the Green Lightning Saint interfered, they also felt bad for Wan Qing. "Brother, we understand your feelings. Hi, you're right. Even if we mysteriously die outside, the heavenly venerables probably wouldn't care. However, you should just relax. Don't go too far. Go early and come back early. Honestly speaking, this Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace is really too boring." Just like that, Wan Qing left without any mishaps. As soon as he left, he fled for his life. According to Long Chen's instructions, he fled in the direction of the Phoenix clan. Long Chen gave him more than 2 hours to escape. With Wan Qing's speed, although the distance wasn't far, it was more than enough. "Saint Yang, what should I do?" Wan Qing's face flushed red as he said emotionally. Long Chen said, "There's a tree talisman on Yu Yan's body. It's connected to the Green Lightning Saint. Take it out and tell him that you've taken Yu Yan away. In the future, you'll love Yu Yan more than he does, and the 2 of you will be together for the rest of your life." Chapter 28:10. Only then did Wan Qing understand. "Holy Venerable Yang, do you want me to lure him out? But he's about to participate in the Builder Tree Sacred Battle." Long Chen smiled and said, "That's right. You chose this time to secretly take Yu Yan away and leave the Builder Tree. That's the only explanation, right? Only then will the Green Lightning Holy Venerable believe that this was your idea. Also, he will only snatch other people's women. His own women have never been snatched away. This kind of shameful thing, he will deal with it himself. If you don't believe me, you can try." This was Long Chen's analysis of Holy Venerable Green Lightning's character. He cared about his face. He could snatch Wan Qing's woman, but if Wan Qing snatched her back, he would lose face. Even if he didn't love Yu Yan and only wanted to play around, he absolutely wouldn't let Wan Qing snatch her back. This would infuriate him, but he wouldn't tell anyone. After all, this was a shameful matter. Remember, look a little more miserable, be a little more crazy, and throw caution to the wind. You have to be like a madman. Only then will people believe you," Long Chen said. "All right." Wan Qing gritted his teeth. He took out the tree talisman and did as Long Chen said. "Holy Venerable Green Lightning, I, Wan Qing, will take Yu Yan away. From now on, we will leave the Builder Tree and live a carefree life. I know you are about to participate in the Builder Tree Sacred Battle and won't have time to chase after me. That's why I dared to bid farewell to you. At the same time, I, Wan Qing, will make you pay for the harm you've caused me and Yu Yan. If Holy Venerable Green Lightning wanted to chase after him, he would do it himself. This matter was so embarrassing. Given his character, he definitely wouldn't let anyone know about it. This was Long Chen's understanding of his character. Although he was smart and cunning, he cared too much about his face, especially in this aspect. "Where are you going?" "We are about to set off." The 5 heavenly venerables were puzzled when they saw that Holy Venerable Green Lightning was about to leave. Holy Venerable Green Lightning waved his hand. Just a small matter. Don't worry. You guys set off first. I will catch up in a while. Qingdian, don't mess around. Have you forgotten about blue flames and the demons? Green Lightning Saint Sovereign smiled and said, Of course I know. However, the place I'm going is near the Builder Tree Sacred Heavenly Palace. If something really happens, you two will arrive in a quarter of an hour. Besides, if the two of you can't do it, I can't either. All right, don't worry too much about it. I'm leaving. Qingdian, focus on the important matters. Don't act recklessly. The Celestial Venerables stood up. Sacred Venerable Green Lightning was very vexed. A mere ant actually dared to use the Holy War of the World Tree to run wild on his head. That was fine. Because of the three mysterious people, the 5 heavenly venerables were like turtles, forcing everyone to hide in the wood god's celestial palace. Since when did they need to be in such a sorry state? He felt that the 5 celestial venerables were making a mountain out of a molehill. For example, those 3 mysterious people. They could have used 1 or 2 god kings as bait to lure those 3 people over and then killed them. Of course, he felt that these old fellows were too timid. 5 dignified celestial venerables were actually scared to this extent by 3 small fries. This is too funny. Where did the courage you guys had when you were young go? What a joke. Green Lightning. The celestial venerables were a little angry. Green Lightning Saint Sovereign had always been impudent, but they were used to it. But this time, he was still acting recklessly on a major matter. The celestial venerables were also angry. Just like that, the two sides quarreled. After saying a few words, Green Lightning Saint Sovereign flicked his sleeves and left. He left behind a sentence, "Don't worry. I won't die in front of you old fellows." After saying that, he rushed out of the Builder Tree Divine Heavenly Palace. The 5 celestial venerables were so angry that they almost vomited blood. This unfilial son. It's all your fault. This is the result of spoiling him. They were about to set off soon. The celestial venerables remembered that proper business was more important, so they didn't quarrel with each other. Of course, they didn't feel that anything would happen to Green Lightning Saint Sovereign if he went out for a while. It was just that they weren't too satisfied with Green Lightning Saint Sovereign's attitude. After all, the Builder Tree Sacred War was such an important matter, yet he still disobeyed orders. This was indeed a little too much. After the Sacred War is over, we should teach this guy a lesson and make him change his attitude. Otherwise, it won't be a problem if he continues like this. That's true. Honestly speaking, Green Lightning Saint Sovereign was about to explode from anger. A trash that had just become a deity not long ago. He had enjoyed his woman and humiliated him. This was a normal thing. After all, in the eyes of Green Lightning Saint Sovereign, even 100,000 Yuan Qing wasn't as valuable as him. But the other party actually dared to take advantage of the Builder Tree Sacred War to snatch that woman back. Moreover, he even said some harsh words to him. Honestly speaking, he had no interest in that woman at all. But he had a rule. Women that he had enjoyed before, as long as he abandoned them, he would basically erase them. This way, other men wouldn't be able to obtain her. He was preparing to erase that woman, but he temporarily couldn't think of a replacement target. Hence he kept her. But she had actually been snatched back. If news of this were to spread, he would lose all face. Indeed, just as Longchen thought, even if he had to quarrel with the heavenly venerables, he wouldn't be able to resist coming out. Didn't Yuan Qing want to act arrogantly in front of him before he left? He wanted Yuan Qing to see what would happen if he broke Green Lightning Saint Sovereign's rule. Yuan Qing had already arrived in the starry sky. He did have a destinable divine treasure that allowed him to travel through the starry sky. However, it was only at the dream grade. Although it was slow, he would be able to reach another world after a few decades or a century. At this moment, he felt like he was suffocating. He's coming. Green Lightning Saint Sovereign. Indeed, Longchen had guessed correctly. Green Lightning Saint Sovereign was indeed like this. In the Divine Kingdom, Yu Yan slowly woke up. Big brother Yuan Qing, Yu Yan, I'll bring you to escape from this Builder Tree Sacred Tree and go to a new world. Yuan Qing said as he frantically fled. Right now, the mission that Long Chen had given him was to head in a certain direction. He could only follow Long Chen's instructions. What did you say? Are you crazy? Quickly bring me out. Big brother Yuan Qing, You will die like this. You will be killed by Green Lightning Saint Sovereign. Yu Yan was terrified, and tears flowed from her eyes. No, Green Lightning Saint Sovereign will die. Believe me, both Blue Flame Saint Sovereign and Demon Saint Sovereign died like this. Wan Qing's face was filled with fanaticism. He ran with all his might, rushing into the boundless starry sky. The land underground was constantly shrinking, revealing the appearance of the Builder Tree. How did they die? Aren't they? Big brother Wan Qing, what are you saying? Yu Yan's face was pale as she looked at Wan Qing in a daze. In a while you will know. Yu Yan, I once promised to give you a lifetime of happiness. I have never forgotten it. Even if you change, I will not change. Wan Qing's eyes were filled with tears as he shouted towards the boundless void. Many years of memories surged in his heart. They climbed up from a small place together, cultivated together, experienced many dangers together, took revenge together, wandered together, and finally became gods together. They entered the sacred land of the Builder Tree Sacred Race, the legendary residence of the gods, the Builder Tree Sacred Celestial Palace. Today, their love was shattered. Wan Qing was unwilling. He couldn't bear to see Yu Yan still suffering. Saint Yang will kill him. Blue Flame Saint Sovereign and Demon Saint Sovereign were both killed by him. Wan Qing said emotionally. Is that so? Is that him? Yu Yan knew that Wan Qing had been serving by Long Chen's side. Long Chen had once saved Wan Qing's life. In Yu Yan's heart, Wan Qing was a powerful and mysterious person. Now that you know the truth, you will be in a hurry to tell Green Lightning Saint Sovereign, right? Wan Qing said sadly. Unexpectedly, Yu Yan shook her head. She wiped away her tears and said, I also want to see how Green Lightning Saint Sovereign died. Yu Yan you. Wan Qing didn't dare to believe it. He remembered that on the day Long Chen came, she was still in Green Lightning Saint Sovereign's arms. It was as sweet as it could be. She even said that Green Lightning Saint Sovereign would treat her differently than others, and that he would sever all ties with Wan Qing forever. At this moment, Wan Qing felt that he had entered an incomparably silent world. Welcome, hero who is about to take revenge. Long Chen suddenly appeared in front of him. The specific process was that Ling Shi had created a sealed realm within the Divine Wood Palace, and then Long Chen had entered her divine kingdom and been brought here by her. Then, she had set up an incomparably huge sealed realm here. Everything had to be done quickly. Now, Wan Qing had entered the sealed boundary. What should I do next? Wan Qing finally felt at ease after seeing Long Chen. You just need to watch. Long Chen smiled at him. This fellow had worked hard. In truth, in this situation, besides Wan Qing, no one else would be able to trick Green Lightning Saint Sovereign out. Below, a green bolt of lightning was rushing forward. So. That was Green Lightning Saint Sovereign's rage. Bastard! Do you really think you can leave? Green Lightning Saint Sovereign's sinister laughter resounded, causing Wan Qing and Yu Yan to tremble. At this moment, they didn't dare to speak and could only watch blankly. Long Chen had created a sealed space within the Divine Kingdom. He didn't let them see the huge continent, but he had also protected them. Your mission is complete. Thank you. We will deal with Green Lightning Saint Sovereign first. You can rest now. Long Chen smiled. Bang! Green Lightning Saint Sovereign charged into the sealed boundary. Entering the sealed boundary was equivalent to completely disappearing from the myriad worlds. Even many secret realms didn't have such an effect. This was due to the laws of heaven's rules. After entering, Green Lightning Saint Sovereign couldn't hope that the commotion here would affect the outside world. The sealed boundary that Lingxi had set up was very, very big. When Green Lightning Saint Sovereign entered, he didn't see Wan Qing. Instead, he saw Long Chen. You. He was stunned and couldn't react for a long time. You and Wan Qing. Only now did he remember that Wan Qing had been getting close to Long Chen these few days. So it was you who lured me here. What's your motive? Kill me. Previously, he was furious and wanted to tear Wan Qing apart. But after seeing Long Chen, he calmed down. Who, at this moment, Lingxi, Mo Xiaolang, and Xueqi appeared beside Long Chen. The four of them surrounded Green Lightning Saint Sovereign from four directions. As expected, they are in cahoots with you. Using Wan Qing to lure me out at this crucial moment? How smart. Chapter 28:11. It's almost dawn. We'll set off immediately. If green lightning doesn't return, we'll rush him. If he doesn't come, we'll have to leave first. In the Builder Tree Divine Palace, the 5 heavenly venerables sat at the head, while the other divine kings were arranged around them. Yes, Yang Chen hasn't arrived yet. He's the key figure today, South Pole Heavenly Venerate said in a hoarse voice. This Yang Chen is really mysterious. He's in my building with Divine Heavenly Palace, but I can't even sense his existence. I'm afraid he's cultivating. He's rather well behaved and has basically been cultivating in the building with Divine Heavenly Palace these days. I'll call him in a while. South Pole Heavenly Venerate looked in Long Chen's direction and couldn't help but sneer. Their Builder Tree divine race wouldn't let a mysterious guy with amazing potential stay on the Builder Tree. The dream of the 5 heavenly venerables was to defeat and expel the Phoenix race, making this huge Builder Tree the world of the human race. Of course, it was the Builder Tree race. It had nothing to do with an outsider like Long Chen. They didn't know that Long Chen and Green Lightning Saint Venerate were fighting in the sealed realm. What kind of rule is this? It can completely seal this place and make me unable to contact others. When Green Lightning Saint Venerate realized this, he looked at Long Chen's group of 4 and finally felt a little shocked. It was undeniable that they had prepared for a long time for today's scheme. Yang Chen, why did you set up a trap for me? I have no enmity with you. Green Lightning Saint Venerate didn't dare to move for the time being. He believed that the 5 heavenly venerates would discover Long Chen's arrival. As long as he delayed for time, the 5 heavenly venerates would still come. Of course, he didn't think that he could defeat Long Chen's group of 4. Long Chen said indifferently, "There is indeed no enmity between us, but you blocked my path. Moreover, although I have no enmity with you, my friend has enmity with you. In the end, if I don't get rid of you, you will seek revenge for the smallest grievance. If I don't kill you now, after the Builder Tree Sacred War, it will be your turn to take revenge. Am I right? You're gauging the heart of a gentleman with your own mean measure." Saint Green Lightning laughed shamelessly. He was very courageous. Even when surrounded by Long Chen and the other 3, he did not show the slightest hint of fear. Seeing Saint Green Lightning like this, Wan Qing and Yu Yan became very nervous. You want to defeat me? Easy, but you want to kill me? Haha. You're fucking underestimating me. I'm the Green Lightning Saint Venerable. Do you know the weight of my name? The value of these trillions of mortal lives can't even compare to my name. In the end, he roared out savagely. Indeed, he was arrogant. He is the disciple of our 5 Empyreans, the future ruler of the human race. There is no reason for him not to be arrogant. Just as Wan Qing said, he has never been defeated in battle since he was a child. Just how arrogant must he be? It was one thing to lose to Long Chen. Everyone had their first defeat. But from then on, his goal was to defeat Long Chen. But now, Long Chen wanted to kill him. This meant that he, Saint Green Lightning, was no longer Long Chen's opponent. Instead, he was the prey. Saint Green Lightning brought him to hunt, but in the end, he became the prey. This feeling made Saint Green Lightning cry and laugh at the same time. His entire body was covered in green lightning. That lightning saint tree erupted with terrifying lightning, just like Saint Green Lightning at this moment. Unfortunately, your weight in my heart is inferior to Wan Qing's. Just as Saint Green Lightning was at his most insolent, Long Chen's words struck him in the head. In Saint Green Lightning's eyes, Wan Qing was trash. He was a laughable man who played around with his woman. It was already enough that he was played by Wan Qing this time. But Long Chen still wanted to humiliate him like this. This was a humiliation to Saint Green Lightning. Damn dog. He couldn't help but laugh. It's starting. Long Chen didn't have time to talk to him. This was simply nonsense. Just as Saint Green Lightning was preparing to fuse with the Lightning Saint tree, Long Chen was faster than him. In just a short instant, Saint Green Lightning appeared in front of a slender beast. His entire body was blood-colored and covered in dragon scales. Although his appearance was mystical, his bloodline was terrifying, surpassing that of a phoenix. Builder Tree Saint's soul. Saint Green Lightning was instantly stunned. He was originally preparing to fuse with the Lightning Saint tree. But when he saw the appearance of Long Chen, he abruptly stopped. This moment was the most shocking moment in Saint Green Lightning's life. When he was young, Empyrean Desolate would brought him to see the Builder Tree Saint's soul for the first time. This mystical soul was unforgettable to him. From then on, he cultivated with the Builder Tree Saint's soul and made great progress. In his life, the Builder Tree Saint's soul became the most sacred thing. And today, one of his opponents had actually transformed into the Builder Tree Saint's soul. Although the exact appearance was different, it was definitely the same thing. More importantly, Long Chen was no longer a soul but a living life form. That majestic life force, that overwhelming divine might, that ice-cold killing intent, all of these directly displayed Long Chen's true strength. Heaven's will art. Lingxi's attack speed was the fastest. When Saint Green Lightning was shocked by the Builder Tree Saint's soul, she had already made her move. The Heavens will art imprisoned Saint Green Lightning's World Tree. Originally, the Lightning Saint Tree and the World Tree were fusing. But when the World Tree was entangled, Saint Green Lightning discovered that he actually couldn't fuse with it. Heart-gathering flame. Next was Mo Xiaolang. The attack of the heart-gathering flame was extremely powerful. The demon Saint Venerable was almost crippled by the explosion of the heart-gathering flame. The ancestral flame smashed into Holy Venerate Green Lightning. Holy Venerate Green Lightning was planning to hold back the heart-gathering flame and flee to the other side. But at that moment, a terrifying black hole suddenly appeared on the other side. If Holy Venerate Green Lightning had not reacted quickly, he would have been sucked in. But the heart-gathering flame still exploded in front of him. Boom! He didn't expect that this seemingly insignificant attack would be so powerful. He almost lost half of his life. Also, that black hole sliced through his body, directly tearing it apart, instantly turning him into a bloody mess. The consecutive attacks simply didn't give Saint Green Lightning any chance to resist. How can it be the Builder Tree Saint's soul? How can this be? He was riddled with wounds as he rushed out. He was incomparably shocked. In front of him, Long Chen had already transformed into the chaotic origin Heaven Fate Dragon. With a glare, the Destiny Heavenly Eye of his left eye suppressed him. Before the Destiny Heavenly Eye, Saint Green Lightning was in an incomparably weak state. And at this moment, Lingxi easily appeared behind him. Soul-splitting art. Buzz. A muffled sound rang out. Saint Green Lightning couldn't avoid the connection between his divine palace and the world tree being severed. He instantly coughed out blood as the lightning on his body exploded. This was a power that he couldn't control. In that instant, Long Chen's sword had already pierced through him. At this moment, Long Chen was in his human form. That sword just now was the heavenly punishment. Actually, with the four of them being able to contend against Paragon Realm God Kings, even if they didn't transform into dragons, Long Chen could still easily kill him. The effect of transforming into a dragon was to shock him. From his shock, Long Chen was even more certain that the so-called Builder Tree Saint soul was the origin dragon soul of a supreme divine dragon. The heavenly punishment had completely shattered Saint Green Lightning's power. It's not that we underestimated you, but you underestimated us, Green Lightning. Long Chen pressed down on Saint Green Lightning's head. His fingers almost pierced into Saint Green Lightning's skull, causing blood to flow. He slowly pulled out his white sword and stared at Green Lightning's green lightning eyes as he spoke. Green Lightning's entire body trembled. Perhaps at this moment, he finally understood that Long Chen was determined to eat him alive. From the moment he entered this sealed world, it meant absolute death. It was laughable that he thought he still had the strength to fight against Long Chen. Indeed, he had underestimated Long Chen's group. With the four of them joining hands, Saint Green Lightning would die in less than 3 breaths of time. This was the current strength of their group. Why are you? Builder Tree Saint's soul. Saint Green Lightning's body was broken. At this moment, he was trembling as he looked at Long Chen. Long Chen's coldness and decisiveness truly made him tremble. He originally thought that Long Chen had only slightly surpassed him. Only now did he truly understand that he was Long Chen's prey. Moreover, at this moment, there was no way for him to turn the tables. Because your so-called Builder Tree Saint soul is what I came out to find after leaving my home, Long Chen solemnly said. Spare me. Green Lightning Holy Venerable pleaded. He admitted defeat. Even if I spare you, the Empyreans won't spare me. Why did I kill you? It's because I'm worried that they will kill me. Long Chen's blood-red dragon claw pressed into Saint Green Lightning's head. The blood devouring had begun. Green, Wan Qing and Yu Yan's faces were deathly pale. They looked at this scene nervously. They saw Saint Green Lightning almost instantly killed by them. They saw Saint Green Lightning struggling in Long Chen's hand. They saw Long Chen devouring Saint Green Lightning's flesh and blood. They heard Saint Green Lightning's miserable screams. In truth, if they didn't know what kind of person Long Chen was, they would definitely be terrified to death. That guy died in the end. Wan Qing clenched his fists. Long Chen didn't lie to him. He really succeeded. Moreover, it was so easy. In fact, everything that happened today was because Long Chen was too well prepared. Starting from the Blue Flame Saint Venerate and the Monster Demon Saint Venerate, he made Mo Xiaolang and Xueqi stronger, and he gave Lingxi ample opportunities to train. Today, they perfectly cooperated. This was the first time he casually used up a bit of energy to kill an opponent. Previously, when he fought with Saint Green Lightning, he had indeed used up a lot of energy. Now, the blood devouring was to fight with the 5 great Empyreans. At this time, the sky was bright. The Builder Tree Saint battle was about to begin. The deities should also set off. Saint Green Lightning turned into ashes, completely disappearing in front of Long Chen. This Thunderbolt Holy Tree might be useful in the future. Long Chen planted the Thunderbolt Holy Tree in his divine kingdom. Then he said to Wan Qing, "Your hatred has been avenged. However, I have more important things to do now. In the future, will you leave with me, or will you leave the Builder Tree alone? Make your decision first. When I'm done, you can tell me your decision." After all, the other party had helped him a lot. Chapter 28:12. Hurry up, they're already here, Lingxi said anxiously. Okay. Long Chen and the others quickly let Lingxi bring them back to the Builder Tree Divine Heavenly Palace. Then they quickly let Lingxi go back first before unsealing the sealed realm. When the sealed realm disappeared, the moment Long Chen saw the outside world, South Pole Heavenly Venerate Huamu happened to appear in front of him. Yang Chen, your rules are really powerful. I'm already in front of you, but I haven't discovered your existence. In terms of concealment, you're definitely the best I've ever seen. I've been to the Divine Demon Buzhou Mountain before, but I've never seen an expert like you. Of course, Long Chen wouldn't tell him that it was because of the sealed realm. It was also because Long Chen wasn't here at all. It was really dangerous. If he came back a little later, he would probably know that he had just left. Although he could choose not to come back if he was discovered, he wouldn't be able to carry out the next plan. After all, they would definitely be suspicious if they didn't find him. If they couldn't contact Green Lightning Saint, they would be even more suspicious. At that time, they probably wouldn't even go to the Builder Tree Sacred Battle. After all, it was completely possible to delay the battle. Now, Long Chen needed some time to digest the success of the blood devouring just now. If South Pole Heavenly Venerate Huamu knew that their favorite disciple, Green Lightning Saint, had now been devoured by Long Chen, who knew how wonderful their expressions would be. The Builder Tree Sacred Battle is more important. Let's go first. As Long Chen walked, he secretly transformed the power into the primordial divine dragon Heavenly Tribulation Source power. As his power increased, he would soon reach the perfect divine Lord realm. Following South Pole Heavenly Venerate Huamu to the entrance of the Builder Tree Divine Heavenly Palace, the other 4 Heavenly Venerates had ugly expressions. "We haven't contacted that brat yet," South Pole Heavenly Venerate Huamu said angrily. "This kid doesn't know his place. Although we've restricted him a little more recently and made him annoyed, don't be like this. It means that he can't be bothered to talk to us." The Empyreans had painstakingly nurtured him. Now, he had gotten used to his temper. Before the World Tree Sacred Battle, Saint Venerable Green Lightning had even dared to disobey their orders. In the center, Empyrean Desolate Wood was a little angry. He said, "Don't worry about it. Let's go to the Builder Tree Heaven Sacrificial Altar first, lest the Phoenix race laugh at us. After the Builder Tree Sacred Battle ends, we should teach him a lesson." The other Heavenly Venerables were also a little angry. "Don't worry. If Sacred Venerate Green Lightning is in danger, he will naturally come to you for help. There won't be an expert on the Builder Tree that he won't even have a chance to ask for help before killing, right?" Long Chen chuckled. Of course, there wouldn't be such a person. The reason why the 5 celestial venerables were not worried but angry was because the green lightning saint venerables did not immediately notify them like the blue flame saint venerables or the demon saint venerables. This meant that the green lightning saint venerables were not in danger. Perhaps he had already rushed over and just did not want to bother with them. Perhaps he had already arrived at the heavenly altar. The God Monarch's team embarked on the most glorious journey under the cheers of the gods and the entire human race, heading towards the Builder Tree Heaven sacrificial altar at the border of the two races. Along the way, Long Chen completely digested the power of the green lightning saint venerables and successfully broke through to the perfected divine lord realm. The heavenly venerables felt this subtle change, but they naturally believed that Long Chen's true strength was that of a god monarch. Hence, they didn't care too much about this tiny change in cultivation level. What they cared about was the Builder Tree sacred battle. To them, the little tantrum that the green lightning saint venerables threw was just an interlude. The god monarchs were fast and it didn't take long before they arrived at the Builder Tree Heaven sacrificial altar. Speaking of which, this should have been a branch of the Builder Tree, but it had been cut off at the root. Hence, a tree stump, like altar had appeared. This was a very flat piece of land. After the 30-odd god monarchs arrived, they headed towards the center. In front of them was the territory of the Phoenix race. Boom, boom, boom. After passing through the thick fog, they finally saw the Phoenix race. There were a total of 30-odd god monarchs on the Phoenix race's side. All the god monarchs lined up in a row as their gazes collided. On the entire Builder Tree, countless people were cheering for today's battle. This was the pinnacle battle between the human race and the Phoenix race. Friends, long time no see. Heavenly Venerate Desolate, who was in the center, saw his old opponent. His long hair fluttered in the wind as he said a few words that stunned the entire place, giving the god monarchs of the Phoenix race a certain amount of pressure. Long Chen found Xueqi in the crowd. Upon a closer look, he discovered that Xueqi was actually different. The color of her hair and eyes were very obvious, but there were other changes. That was a huge improvement in her bloodline. If Xueqi was said to have the bloodline of a super divine dragon in the past, she now had the bloodline of a supreme divine dragon. In terms of bloodline, the 5 saint emperors were much inferior to her. Most likely, the heavenly venerables could also easily see this. However, the heavenly venerables didn't know what was going on. Now, all the strongest cultivators of the Builder Tree were here. Among the 5 saint emperors, the Vermilion Bird Emperor said, "Why hasn't the famous Green Lightning Saint appeared? Also, who is this person? Is he also going to participate in the battle? I don't think he is from our Builder Tree." In the center, Heavenly Venerate Desolate had already thought about this question. He stroked his long beard and chuckled. Green Lightning will be here in a while. As for Brother Yang Chen, yes, he is not from our Builder Tree, but he has joined us and is already one of us. He is also a human like us. Moreover, the rules of the Builder Tree sacred battle only stated that it was between the human race and the Phoenix race. It didn't say that the otherworldly humans couldn't participate in the battle. If you have the otherworldly Phoenix race, then there's no harm. Why? Is the Vermilion Bird Emperor afraid of him? This was indeed a loophole in the rules. And according to the Heavenly Venerables, Long Chen was already a member of the Builder Tree race. To be honest, the 5 saint emperors didn't particularly understand Long Chen's strength. They only heard from Xueqi that Long Chen definitely wouldn't help them, so they were slightly relieved. However, they were still on guard. What they were most puzzled about was why the Green Lightning Saint didn't come, and as expected, the Blue Flame Saint and the Demon Saint were missing. The Green Phoenix Emperor said with a smile, "May I ask where the Blue Flame Saint and the Demon Saint are?" The Phoenix race already knew this news. They also knew that it was Long Chen who caused their deaths. This was the reason why they weren't willing to let Long Chen go. Don't ask any more and cut the crap. Let's fight. The Phoenix race lost last time. According to the rules, the Phoenix race will send one person first. The South Pole Heavenly Venerate Huamu was the angriest and directly retorted coldly. The Green Lightning Saint had already made them angry enough. When the Blue Flame Saint and the Demon Saint were mentioned, they were naturally even angrier. Feng Chen, you go first. The 5 saint emperors had already decided on the first person to fight. This was actually very important. The outcome of the first battle was related to the morale of the Phoenix race. Feng Chen, who had once fought with the Green Lightning Saint, took a step forward. The other god kings of the Phoenix race retreated. The 5 heavenly venerables smiled. Long Chen, you go. The South Pole heavenly venerable firewood patted his shoulder and then whispered to him, remember, don't be too strong. For the first time, you must defeat your opponent with difficulty. Only then will they let the Saint Emperor go. All right. Long Chen smiled faintly and nodded. He stayed where he was while the others retreated. The Builder Tree Heaven sacrificial altar was big enough for them to fight. We meet again. Under the gazes of dozens of god kings, Feng Chen was very polite and smiled warmly at Long Chen. The Phoenix race was very particular about etiquette. Feng Chen was also very polite and bowed to Long Chen. Except for Xueqi. You're too polite. Long Chen cupped his hands. The other party was a perfect realm god king. During this period, Long Chen had seen too many perfect realm god kings. He had just killed one and relied on him to reach a new realm. The Phoenix race and the heavenly venerables were still very interested in his strength. The first battle was Feng Chen against Long Chen. From the god kings to the gods and then to the world. This was the first time that Long Chen's name was known to the world. Of course it was the name Yang Chen. Do you think he will do as we say? Looking at the confrontation between Yang Chen and Feng Chen, the heavenly venerables discussed in a low voice. Who knows? This Yang Chen is mysterious and strange. But what exactly he is and what his purpose is, we should be able to understand from the first battle. Our purpose is just to let him help us win 2 more perfect realm god kings. As long as he achieves the goal, no matter what he is, we will kill him on the spot, the South Pole heavenly venerable said viciously. That's right. They had decided long ago. It's just that green lightning hasn't come yet. When the time comes, it will be fine as long as he doesn't affect our battle arrangements. If he doesn't come, we must punish him severely when we return. If he doesn't come, if he messes around to this extent, it won't be as simple as just punishing him. After all, this was the most important event of the entire Jianmu sacred tree. It wasn't a place to be angry. While the heavenly venerables were talking, Long Chen and Feng Chen were almost fighting. Feng Chen transformed into the Phoenix Taowu. It was incomparably huge, gorgeous and solemn, overlooking the world. In front of it, Long Chen seemed incomparably small. But at this moment, just as Feng Chen was about to make a move, Long Chen held the 2 swords with both hands and soared into the sky at a terrifying speed. Time rupture. The 2 swords slashed out. These 2 swords had already reached the order level. Puff. No matter how Feng Chen resisted, he couldn't withstand the horror of these 2 swords. Even if he escaped the blades, he couldn't escape the rules of time and was hit by time rupture. Taowu lost time and was motionless in the air. Its power collapsed. When the 3 breaths were over, Long Chen punched down, right in the middle of its head. At that moment, the huge purple phoenix fell from the sky and fell to the ground, losing its combat power. For a moment, there was silence. The famous Xuanhuan expert joined the battle with his latest masterpiece, Endless Divine Realm. Stars paved the sea of swords, the sun and moon rose from the palm of his fingers, crossing the boundary of life and death to pursue eternity. On the immortal and demon battlefield, life and death were on the line. Chapter 28:13. This battle had started very quickly, and of course, it had ended too quickly. In just a few breaths of time, Feng Chen had already fallen to the ground. Although he had not admitted defeat, nor was he dead, he had already lost the ability to fight. It was simply impossible for him to stand up again, or even defeat Long Chen and reverse the situation. This situation made all the godly monarchs silent. Long Chen gently waved his hand and helped Feng Chen up. He swept his gaze around and saw the people looking at him in shock. He smiled and said, "What's wrong? Could it be that the victor has not been decided yet?" Long Chen's display of strength had, in truth, made the Phoenix race very worried. Although Long Chen had done many things that made them happy, no matter what, Long Chen was their enemy in this sacred battle. As for the humans, they were not happy either. In truth, the fact that Long Chen could defeat Feng Chen so quickly meant that he could fight against the perfected godly monarchs. In other words, the 5 saint emperors and 5 heavenly venerables. Before, they had thought that they had Long Chen in the bag. Who knew that Long Chen would become stronger and stronger? At this rate, he would escape their control sooner or later. Moreover, the 5 heavenly venerables had asked him to make it as difficult as possible. He had not agreed. This was a form of rebellion. So even though he had won, no one cheered on the human side. This situation was quite strange. I've lost. Feng Chen had no choice but to admit defeat and return to the Phoenix Race's team. Over at the Phoenix Race's side, Xueqi looked at him angrily. Of course, she blamed Long Chen for standing on the side of the humans. Long Chen smiled at her. Although he did not say anything, this smile made her feel at ease. I'll fight you. As the 5 heavenly venerables had expected, the 5 saint emperors had stepped up. In the past, the opening had been a few perfected godly monarchs. The final godly monarchs were left to the back, the better. This time, because of Long Chen, the Vermilion Bird Emperor had no choice but to step up. This was because everyone knew that if the 5 saint emperors did not make a move, the other god kings would be defeated by Long Chen not much faster than Feng Chen. Humph, it's good that they're so strong. At least our Holy Tree War is a sure victory. Even if it doesn't work, we can still make the Vermilion Bird Emperor consume some of his energy. Then, it'll be easier for us to take care of him. Not bad at all. When the Empyreans saw Long Chen and the Vermilion Bird Emperor facing each other, they sneered in their hearts. If Long Chen and the Vermilion Bird Emperor were to mutually injure each other, they would be even happier. They understood that the Phoenix clan should be the one having a headache right now. I didn't expect Brother Yang Chen's attainments to be so profound. Today, I, the Vermilion Bird Emperor, would like to experience your skills. There were flames burning in the Vermilion Bird Emperor's eyes. As a phoenix, as an emperor, it was dignified and dignified. It was the Vermilion Bird's godly spirit and was the symbol of justice and authority in the Phoenix race. After Long Chen's previous foreshadowing, this battle was undoubtedly more exciting. For a moment, the god kings couldn't help but retreat, giving more space for the 2 powerhouses to fight. More than 100 peak deities were guarding here. It was nothing more than to determine the victor. Just when everyone was guessing how capable Long Chen would be in the hands of the Vermilion Bird Emperor, Long Chen suddenly smiled, cupped his hands slightly, and said, I've long heard of the great name of the Vermilion Bird Emperor. As a junior, Yang Chen knows his own limits. He knows that he is definitely not a match for the Vermilion Bird Emperor, so I won't embarrass myself in this battle. I'll admit defeat first. As soon as these words came out, it immediately caused a huge uproar. The Phoenix race was still fine. This was the situation that they were most delighted to see. However, the god kings of the human race were about to go crazy from anger. Although Long Chen had already defeated Feng Chen, it could be said that he had completed his mission. At the very least, he had blocked a great perfection realm god king. But he clearly had tyrannical strength. It wasn't that he knew that he couldn't win the battle, but he didn't want to fight. He was simply playing with the 5 heavenly venerables, and it was a living humiliation. So when they heard this, the 5 heavenly venerables' faces suddenly changed. Green Lightning Saint quarreled with them, which had already made them angry. Long Chen's smile and humble appearance made them even angrier. If that's the case, you can step down and let another opponent come up. The Vermilion Bird Emperor seized this opportunity, not giving the human a chance to refute. Yes. Long Chen respectfully stepped back. In these 2 battles, he had shown his strength, let the Phoenix clan know his value, and at the same time, he had also severed the relationship with the human race, of course, only the Zhenmu clan. Yang Chen. Heavenly Venerable Huangmu in the center shouted angrily, and the entire Zhenmu heaven altar was shaking. The god kings couldn't bear such a voice, let alone the mortals, which showed how angry he was at this moment. The 5 heavenly venerables were burning with anger. This feeling of being played was something they hadn't experienced for many years. Heavenly Venerable, he is one of your people, and he admitted defeat personally. You won't go back on your words, right? The Zhenmu sacred battle is a rule that our 2 races have maintained for countless years. You can't break the rules. The Vermilion Bird Emperor stood in front of Long Chen, and his voice was competing with the voice of Heavenly Venerable Huangmu in the center. Heavenly Venerable Huangmu gritted his teeth and said, Of course we won't break the rules, we just want to pause the Zhenmu sacred battle. We accidentally let the thief sneak into the team of the Zhenmu sacred battle. Now, we have to clean up the sect. When the words clean up the sect were said, the god kings couldn't help but be excited. Even the living beings could hear this matter, They knew about Yang Chen and the changes in the situation. The other god kings retreated. The 5 heavenly venerables stepped forward, and their murderous eyes were fixed on Long Chen. Their original purpose of keeping Long Chen alive was for the Jianmu sacred battle. They didn't expect that Long Chen would publicly play the 5 heavenly venerables in the Jianmu sacred battle. With such a disaster, they definitely couldn't let Long Chen stay. To be honest, the reason why Long Chen didn't just hide and wait for them to go to the Jianmu sacred battle before attacking the Jianmu sacred palace was because he had a better way to obtain the origin dragon soul. Right now. When the 5 heavenly venerables approached, Long Chen smiled and said, "Clean up the sect? When did I become one of your people? Other than the fact that I promised to participate in the Jianmu sacred battle for you, I have nothing to do with you. Besides, didn't I do what you wanted me to do for you? Now you want to burn the bridge after crossing the river? However, I am very good friends with the 5 Saint Emperors of the Phoenix clan, much better than you guys. Are you going to kill his friend in front of them?" From the fall of the 2 heavenly venerables to other things, and his relationship with Xueqi, Long Chen seemed to be on the side of the Phoenix clan. The Phoenix clan definitely understood that this was a peerless master comparable to the heavenly venerables and Saint Emperors. But when the Jianmu sacred race gave him up, and when Long Chen threw an olive branch to them, they would be real fools if they didn't accept it. That's right, Yang Chen is a good friend of the 5 of us. How can you kill him just because you want to? Is the Jianmu sacred battle more important or this matter? The 5 Saint Emperors were very tacit. When the 5 heavenly venerables were ready to join forces to kill Long Chen, the 5 of them all stood by Long Chen's side. For a time, it became a situation of 6 against 5. This situation was greatly disadvantageous to the human race. When the heavenly venerables stopped, their faces were already pale. They really understood that perhaps Long Chen had already decided to do this in the Jianmu sacred battle. Although he was not a spy sent by the Phoenix clan, he had successfully involved himself with the Phoenix clan at this time. This was the purpose of his coming to the Jianmu heaven altar. He came to make a deal with the Phoenix clan. Yang Chen, such a strong smell of gunpowder, but they still couldn't fight. After all, the 2 races had established the rules of the Jianmu sacred battle. If a war were to start at this time, perhaps from today on, the Jianmu sacred battle would be useless, and the Jianmu sacred tree would return to the world. Xueqi grinned from ear to ear. She knew that Long Chen would embarrass the heavenly venerables. Saint Emperors, in the Jianmu sacred battle, you openly protect the traitor of our race. This is not in line with the rules. Does this Jianmu sacred battle still need to continue? Do our 2 races need to have a life and death battle? The South Pole heavenly venerable Huamu was already drowned in anger. Among the 5 Saint Emperors, Emperor Swan said, "Friends of the human race, you all know that the human race is spread across the myriad worlds. Letting a human who is not from the Jianmu sacred tree participate in the Jianmu sacred battle is a form of disrespect to the Jianmu sacred battle. If this is okay, in the next 100,000 years, our 2 races can go outside to find helpers. You broke the rules first, and now you are blaming us. It's really eye-opening." Emperor Bai Yan said, "Yes, if you really want the Jianmu sacred battle to be effective, then continue to fight. As for Yang Chen from now on, he is a friend of the Phoenix clan, and a friend of the Phoenix clan is not someone you can touch as you please." With such a tit-for-tat, the 5 heavenly venerables had no chance to join forces to kill Long Chen. Otherwise, it would be a war. They knew their limits and knew that they could only swallow this anger. Anyway, the holy battle had just been fought twice, and it was considered a draw. Even if they couldn't wait to kill Long Chen immediately, for the sake of the overall situation, they could only accept it. However, the anger and the smell of gunpowder could not disappear, and now those god kings were still looking at Long Chen with vicious eyes. "Let me." Now it was the Vermilion Bird Emperor's turn, so the West Pole Heavenly Venerable Water would set a sentence and directly entered the battle. To deal with the Vermilion Bird Emperor, using water to fight fire was indeed a very good strategy. In every battle in the past, the Vermilion Bird Emperor had a great chance of winning against the other Heavenly Venerables, but against the West Pole Heavenly Venerable Waterwood, he lost more often. This time, he had once again encountered a terrifying opponent. When these 2 ultimate divine kings were facing off, Long Chen suddenly said to the other 4 Saint Emperors beside him, "The 4 of you, I want to make a deal with the 4 of you, how about it?" Of course, the Saint Emperors knew that Long Chen had a motive. Let's hear it. The more the Green Phoenix Emperor looked at Long Chen, the more he liked him. After all, for a long time, No one could anger the 5 heavenly venerables to this extent. Chapter 28:14. The Vermilion Bird Emperor versus the Western Pole Heavenly Venerate Waterwood. It wasn't just the Builder Tree Heaven's sacrificial platform. The entire starry sky around the Builder Tree was their battlefield. In the sky, there was a boundless flaming phoenix. It was majestic, vast, and righteous. It was the dazzling creation of the world. On the other side was a huge tree that grew in the turbulent seawater. The two were engaged in an intense battle, and the resulting commotion completely affected the entire Builder Tree. Boom, boom, boom. Endless booms, countless flames, and waves reminded everyone that today was the grand Builder Tree sacred battle that happened once every 100,000 years. It was a battle between the gods. The human race against the phoenix race. Even the godly monarchs were watching nervously. Only Long Chen and the 4 sacred emperors were not. Using the opportunity of their battle, Long Chen said, "The 4 of you, I have a very good impression of the phoenix race and have a good relationship with Xueqi. Therefore, I won't beat around the bush. I will directly state my purpose for coming to the Builder Tree." Indeed, he had come with a purpose. The 4 sacred emperors were naturally very curious, so they listened attentively. Long Chen said, "This time, I must take away the Builder Tree sacred soul." In fact, the Builder Tree sacred soul isn't called the Builder Tree sacred soul. Its original name is the Origin Dragon Soul. That is something that my race scattered here. It has nothing to do with the Builder Tree. The 4 sacred emperors were alarmed when they heard that. They didn't expect that Long Chen's first sentence would scare them. The Builder Tree sacred soul. Wasn't this battle that happened once every 100,000 years for the Builder Tree sacred soul? For countless years, the Builder Tree sacred soul had left a very heavy mark in the history of the Builder Tree. The Phoenix race valued Long Chen very much. Therefore, when they heard that, the sacred emperors weren't in a hurry to object. Among them, Emperor Bai Yan asked, "You just said that the Builder Tree sacred soul originally belonged to your race, but it ended up here. Then, I want to know which world you are from and which race you are from." Long Chen shook his head and said, "It's not convenient to say, but I can prove it to the 4 of you." The proof was the transformation into a dragon. Now, all the divine kings were focused on the battle between the Vermilion Bird Emperor and the Western Pole Waterwood Heavenly Lord. Long Chen secretly concealed himself and instantly transformed into a divine dragon in front of the 4 saint emperors. As expected, he saw the shocked expressions of the 4 saint emperors. He said solemnly, "Everyone has seen it for yourself. That is my appearance after I transform. Just like how you all transform into phoenixes. The bloodline in my body is the same as the Origin Dragon Soul. This is a part of the soul of the ancestor of my race. I came to the myriad worlds to wander in search of the Origin Dragon Soul. Actually, neither you nor the human race can truly use the Origin Dragon Soul. It won't be of much use to you. It really isn't worth it for you to fight for this divine wood saint soul." It took the 4 saint emperors a long time to react. They looked at each other and secretly thought about the pros and cons. Long Chen continued, "If I obtain the Origin Dragon Soul, I will leave this place. Actually, there is something that all of you still don't know. I have already killed the Blue Flame Saint Venerate and the Demon Saint Venerate. At the same time, the Green Lightning Saint Venerate died in my hands before the Builder Tree sacred battle. It's just that the 5 heavenly venerates don't know about it yet. I have already broken the balance between the Phoenix race and the human race. In the future, you don't have to worry about them. I remember that the reason the Phoenix race wants to obtain the Divine Wood Saint soul is because they are worried that the human race will become stronger and destroy the Phoenix race in the future. Am I right?" The Green Lightning Saint Venerate. To the Phoenix race, this was indeed great news. The 4 saint emperors took a deep breath. "That's right, the Builder Tree Saint soul is useless to us. The reason why we want to snatch it is because we are afraid that the human race will grow stronger. My Phoenix race loves peace and is tired of war. Everything we do is to protect ourselves. If you take away the Builder Tree Saint soul, then the human race will never be able to obtain it. To be honest, we won't have to worry about the Builder Tree Saint soul that happens every 100,000 years. If it really belongs to you, then there's no harm in letting you go. However, you said that this is a deal, so we can help you obtain the Builder Tree Saint soul. They had already decided. Both of them coincided with each other. As long as one of their heavenly venerates dies, the human race won't be able to recover their peak power for at least a few million years. They won't be able to invade the Phoenix race, and the Builder Tree will be able to maintain a long period of peace. The mortals will also be able to live and work in peace. Long Chen had seen so many gods and demons. To be honest, the gods of the Phoenix race in front of him were the only ones who would think for the mortals. Although they should have changed the sky-swallowing race, it was very likely that the things that their race valued the most in the past were still deeply imprinted in them. Hence, this made Long Chen respect them. The Phoenix race was indeed different from the Builder Tree people. They fought for peace, while the Builder Tree people wanted to unify the world and the Builder Tree. Hence, the peace of the Builder Tree needed the Phoenix race to be stronger than the human race. But they couldn't be too strong, or else the mortals of the human race would have no room for survival. The best state of balance might be to let the human race have one less heavenly venerate. This way, the Phoenix race would still be afraid of the human race, and the human race wouldn't dare to invade the Phoenix race. The reason why Long Chen didn't want to steal the Divine Wood Saint's soul was that he was afraid of breaking the balance between the two races. If it caused the deaths of billions of lives, that would be his sin. A heavenly venerate just happened to be Long Chen's limit. Alright, but you have to promise me that after this battle, the Phoenix clan will not invade the human clan of the Building Tree clan, and they will not attack the mortals. If I come back in the future, and I see the people in misery and suffering, we will no longer be friends. Hearing this, the 4 Saint Emperors laughed. They were all people of the same path. Don't worry, if we invade the human race and cause mortals to be in misery and suffering, when you come back, we will personally send our heads to you. This transaction was happily completed just like that. Time was very short. Just as the battle between the Vermilion Bird Emperor and the West Pole Waterwood Heavenly Venerate reached its climax, the 4 Saint Emperors were already making arrangements. Little Xueqi, you and the other godly kings will immediately return to the Phoenix race when you hear my command. Guard the territory of the Phoenix race. The 4 Saint Emperors had already secretly issued orders. The Builder Tree people hadn't noticed the changes on Long Chen's side. Suddenly, Long Chen flew into the starry sky and headed in the direction of the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. At the same time, he turned around and said loudly, "Aren't the Heavenly Venerates curious as to why the Green Lightning Holy Venerate hasn't arrived yet?" Hearing this, even the battle between the Vermilion Bird Emperor and the West Pole Waterwood Heavenly Venerate came to an abrupt halt. The Heavenly Venerates had a bad premonition as they stared at Long Chen with wide eyes filled with thick killing intent. Long Chen's body flashed and 3 people appeared around him. They were Lingxi, Mo Xiaolang, and Xueqi. Let me introduce them to the Heavenly Venerates. They are my wife, brother, and sister. I believe the Heavenly Venerates should be very familiar with them. There shouldn't be a need for Lingxi and Xueqi in this battle. Long Chen let them show their faces before going back to rest. Only Mo Xiaolang was left to accompany him. In previous battles, he had also cooperated with Mo Xiaolang. The 2 of them had the most tenacious vitality. When these 3 people appeared, it was a huge commotion for the Builder Tree Divine race. The eyes of the 5 Heavenly Venerates almost popped out of their sockets. As expected, the Indigo Flame Holy Venerate and the Demon Holy Venerate had fallen because of Long Chen. They had their suspicions before, but they had been deceived by Long Chen. Now that the truth was revealed, and it was Long Chen, not to mention the Heavenly Venerates, even the other gods were furious. Especially since Long Chen had mentioned the matter of the Green Lightning Holy Venerate. "It's really you. Bastard, where's Green Lightning?" The Heavenly Venerates couldn't believe it. If Green Lightning Holy Venerate was going to be killed, he would at least send a message for help. Long Chen had always been in the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace, and hadn't had the chance to kill Green Lightning Holy Venerate. As for the other 3, they weren't that terrifying. Their minds were in a mess. At this moment, a Lightning Holy Tree appeared in Long Chen's hand. "Green Lightning Holy Venerate is here." Long Chen showed the Lightning Holy Tree to the Builder Tree Divine race. To the Builder Tree Divine race, only when they died would their life tree fall and be obtained by others. This almost meant that Green Lightning Holy Venerate was already dead. So when they saw the Lightning Holy Tree, the Heavenly Venerates felt like they had been struck by lightning. Their minds went blank. They had painstakingly nurtured a genius that dominated the Builder Tree. Just like that, he was gone. This was a monstrous enmity. The value of green lightning holy venerate couldn't be compared to the other 9 holy venerates combined. They were all trembling in their hearts. When they saw the lightning holy tree, they knew that the builder tree's sacred war was just bullshit. What they wanted the most now was to kill Long Chen, regardless of whether the Phoenix race's 5 Saint Emperors intercepted them. Move. At this moment, the 5 Saint Emperors gave the order. The god kings of the Phoenix race hurriedly returned to their territory. Although they didn't know what the 5 Saint Emperors wanted to do, they were overjoyed to see that even Green Lightning Holy Venerate had died in the hands of Long Chen. After all, Green Lightning Holy Venerate had been a huge threat all these years. Things like hunting were naturally innumerable. How many living beings had died under his cruelty? A great battle erupted. It wasn't the Builder Tree's sacred war. It was a battle that was even bigger than the Builder Tree's sacred war. When the 5 heavenly venerates roared and rushed over, wanting to tear Long Chen apart, the 5 Saint Emperors intercepted them. An all-out battle had begun. 5 Saint Emperors against 4 heavenly venerates. Long Chen put away the lightning holy tree, exchanged a glance with Mo Xiaolang, and headed in the direction of the Builder Tree Divine Celestial Palace. Why were there 4 heavenly venerates? That was because the 5 Saint Emperors had followed Long Chen's instructions and left out a heavenly venerate. That heavenly venerate had chased after Long Chen. That heavenly venerate was the South Pole heavenly venerate that Long Chen had designated. Endless flames swept towards Long Chen. The original plan of the 5 Saint Emperors was for one of the Saint Emperors and Long Chen to fight against the South Pole heavenly venerate together. However, Long Chen had rejected it, saying that he alone could do it. The 5 Saint Emperors were looking forward to seeing why Long Chen was so confident. The South Pole heavenly venerate was a candidate to fall. It could be said that it would be easy for the 5 of them to fight against 4. This situation was what Long Chen had been waiting for. Chapter 28:15. Due to the appearance of Long Chen, the holy war of the Builder Tree turned into a mess. Now that Green Lightning Saint was dead, it was obvious that the holy war of the Builder Tree only existed in name. To be honest, although the heavenly venerables were not particularly satisfied with Green Lightning Saint's temperament, they were quite proud of his strength. According to the cultivation of the 5 heavenly venerables, it was possible that he would become a new heavenly venerable in the future, or even the first divine emperor of the Builder Tree in tens of millions of years. But now, there was nothing left. The appearance of Long Chen had brought a heavy blow to the Builder Tree divine race. Not to mention how much hatred the 5 heavenly venerables had at this moment. Even the 5 Saint Emperors wouldn't be able to stop these 4 furious heavenly venerables. For a time, the commotion caused by the battle on the Builder Tree's sacred tree instantly increased. A Saint Emperor and a heavenly venerable fighting was already terrifying enough, but now all the peerless powerhouses were fighting. It was earth-shattering and earth-shattering. This was no longer enough to describe the current tragic situation. Moreover, when the heavenly venerables fought, they didn't care about mortals at all. Wherever they went, corpses were everywhere. Fortunately, the Saint Emperors were trying their best to lead the battlefield to the starry sky. 5 Saint Emperors, you stopped us today. Do you know that you are provoking a war between our 2 races? In the future, trillions of lives will be lost, and it will be your fault. Today is the hatred between us and Yang Chen. If you still interfere, we won't be polite. If the Phoenix clan perishes, it will be your fault. Do you believe that we will destroy the sacred leaf continent now? If you stop, we won't hold it against you, and the holy war of the Builder Tree divine race can continue. What we want is to kill Yang Chen. The heavenly venerables' furious voices shook the world. Boom, boom, boom. Even ordinary divine kings didn't know how far the battle had progressed. In the starry sky, there were a total of 5 huge phoenixes. They were fiery red, green, white, purple, and yellow. The 5 phoenixes of 5 colors danced in the starry sky. In the face of the threat of the heavenly venerables, the 5 Saint Emperors were indifferent. They believed in Long Chen. This was the only chance for the Phoenix clan to make a comeback. If they didn't seize this opportunity, as long as the Builder Tree Saint soul existed, one day the human race would continue to grow until they destroyed the Phoenix clan. Since they had made a decision, they couldn't give up halfway. Third brother, kill Yang Chen. In the center, Empyrean Desolate Wood was fighting against Sovereign Bai Yen. His enraged voice pierced through the starry sky and reached Long Chen. Chaos. The world was in complete chaos. From afar, the Builder Tree was trembling as it was firmly surrounded by the light of laws. Countless living beings seemed to be in this battlefield. They personally saw the sky and earth shatter, the mountains and rivers shatter. Of course, many people died every time. There was nothing they could do about it. Today's disaster could establish new rules, allowing the entire Builder Tree to enjoy a longer period of peace. In the center of the countless battle vortexes, Long Chen and Mo Xiaolang stood side by side. In front of him was the fiery red-haired South Pole Empyrean Firewood. Of the 5 Empyreans, he seemed to have the most ferocious plan. The reason he had been chosen was because one of the laws he cultivated was fire. Therefore, he asked Mo Xiaolang to come out. He could be of some help. Most importantly, Long Chen wanted to create Mo Xiaolang. South Pole Empyrean Firewood's eyes were like fire, with boiling magma in them. His body seemed to have countless boiling magma, turning his entire body into volcanic rock. His whole body had an unimaginable heat. Such heat was rare in the world. Under his heat, the Builder Tree below was constantly turning black, and the nearby sacred leaf continents were turning into ashes. The sacred leaf continents, which were close to the human race, generally didn't have many living beings. Yang Chen. South Pole Empyrean Firewood said these 2 words, his mouth almost spewing fire. Follow me if you have the guts. Long Chen said indifferently, turned around and rushed into the starry sky. South Pole Empyrean Firewood, of course, broke out at full speed and chased after him. Long Chen wanted to fight to his heart's content, so he naturally had to stay away from the Builder Tree. This was also to avoid hurting the mortals above. Go, don't let him escape. Now, the 5 Empyreans only wanted to kill Long Chen. Therefore, when Long Chen rushed into the starry sky, they also wanted to get rid of their opponents and rush into the starry sky. In a short period of time, including Long Chen and Mo Xiaolang, a total of 12 top powerhouses rushed into the boundless starry sky. The impact of their battle on the Builder Tree had been minimized. The divine kings who stayed on the Builder Tree didn't start fighting for the time being. In fact, the victory of the 2 races depended on how well the 10 rulers performed. They were the supreme deities of the Builder Tree. Long Chen rushed to the farthest place. The other 4 Empyreans were still stopped by the 5 Saint Emperors. Only South Pole Empyrean Firewood rushed to Long Chen. Don't run, you can't escape. South Pole Empyrean Firewood's voice was like a great bell. Who said I was going to escape? I just wanted to choose a place to fight. Long Chen turned around and quickly separated from Mo Xiaolang. At that moment, 2 sequence-grade longswords appeared in his hands. Those were the spiritual dual swords. After transforming to the sequence grade, the spiritual dual swords were even more different. The last time he had fought to his heart's content was with Green Lightning Saint Venerate. However, Green Lightning Saint Venerate was still slightly weaker than Long Chen. Now that he had encountered South Pole Empyrean Firewood, he was indescribably excited. Great Infernal Fire Sacred Tree. In the hands of South Pole Empyrean Firewood, a sacred flame tree started burning. In terms of quality, it wasn't inferior to the Thunder Sacred Tree at all. In terms of power and foundation, it surpassed the Thunder Sacred Tree by quite a bit. South Pole Empyrean Firewood was one of the masters of Green Lightning Saint Venerate. The cultivation of his natal tree was naturally much stronger than that of Green Lightning Saint Venerate. Fuse. Facing Long Chen, he didn't dare to be the slightest bit careless. 4 heavenly venerates were fighting against 5 Saint Emperors in order to buy him time to kill Long Chen. He didn't have that much time to talk nonsense with Long Chen. Once he attacked, he would definitely use his killing move. In front of Long Chen, the Great Infernal Fire Sacred Tree successfully fused with his World Tree. In that instant, South Pole Empyrean Firewood's entire body changed. From a person, he turned into a huge flaming tree rooted in the starry sky. The tree had hundreds of millions of branches and leaves, changing endlessly. Each branch and leaf was condensed from extremely hot flames. Wherever they went, even the space was burned and distorted. Swish, swish, swish. Around the Great Infernal Fire Sacred Tree, the space caved in, forming a vortex of flames. Die! A roar shook the world. Boom! Mo Xiaolang turned into a sun-devouring demon wolf in front of him. He wasn't the main attacker, but was looking for opportunities to attack and devour. The main focus was still on Long Chen. At this moment, Long Chen held two swords in his hands, and the two swords contained monstrous power. To be honest, South Pole Empyrean Firewood's power brought terrifying pressure to Long Chen. He truly displayed the standard of an ultimate god king. However, Long Chen had his own methods. They attacked almost at the same time, but Long Chen was faster than South Pole Empyrean Firewood. That was because he used the destiny rules. The left eye was the Destiny Heavenly Eye, and the right eye was the Heart's Wish Eye. When the Destiny Heavenly Eye suppressed the Great Infernal Fire Sacred Tree, the majestic flames were immediately suppressed by half. Even if a Heavenly Venerate encountered the Destiny Heavenly Eye, whether or not they could display their heaven-defying abilities depended on Long Chen. This could be considered as Long Chen's warning to South Pole Empyrean Firewood. Long Chen wasn't any weaker than him. As for the Heart's Wish Eye, it was even more exaggerated. This was the first time that Long Chen had truly used the Heart's Wish Eye. Previously, the Heart's Wish Eye had been used on a single target. It was Long Chen's wish, but this time, it was to absorb the wishes of all living beings. The Heart's Wish Eye swept across the Builderwood Sacred Tree and instantly turned into endless light, engulfing the entire Builderwood Sacred Tree. Everyone in Long Chen's field of vision, be it the human race or the phoenix race, was under the control of Long Chen's Heart's Wish Eye. Have faith in me. This was the rule of wishes. A forceful wish. It wasn't as plundering as the Eternal God Race's God Sacrifice technique, but it was more effective. The expressions of everyone in Long Chen's field of vision changed rapidly. Their attitude towards Long Chen changed from being unfamiliar to worshipping. It didn't take long for them to bring torrential wish power to Long Chen. There were close to 9 trillion living beings on the Builderwood Sacred Tree, which was 9 times more than the Dragon Sacrificial Continent. Although the wish power that was brought to Long Chen wasn't as good as the gaze of all living beings on the Dragon Sacrificial Continent, it was at least twice as much. Under the display of the two rules, one side weakened while the other strengthened. An incomparably intense wish halo was born on Long Chen's body. It was a true deity, transcendent, with all living beings as its foundation. The radiance was so bright that people couldn't look directly at it, and its aura rose to the extreme. It even made South Pole Heavenly Venerable Firewood feel shocked and terrified. What kind of rule is this? How can it absorb the wish power of all living beings? South Pole Heavenly Venerable Firewood raged. Countless flaming branches shot towards Long Chen. Endless divine power tore through in every instant, and all of Long Chen's escape routes were completely sealed. What do you think? In the face of such an attack, before Long Chen could even make a move, Mo Xiaolang rushed up from the side and released the heart-gathering fire. All the branches and leaves in front of Long Chen turned into dust and were dispersed by the two ancestral fires. What kind of flames are these? South Pole Heavenly Venerable Firewood was shocked once again. But this wasn't the time for him to be shocked. Long Chen condensed the wish power of all living beings on the Builderwood Sacred Tree, and condensed it into the two swords. With a single charge, he broke through the layers of killer moves under the cover of Mo Xiaolang. Heavenly Punishment. The two swords slashed down, forming a cross. The soul-shattering sword Qi and God-slaying sword Qi instantly arrived in front of South Pole Heavenly Venerable Firewood, erupting with thousands of rays of deathlight. The strongest power of heavenly punishment rushed into South Pole Heavenly Venerable Firewood's Great Infernal Fire Sacred Tree. Boom! 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 Countless golden-black divine dragons triggered South Pole Heavenly Venerable Firewood's own power, destroying his body from the inside, causing him to scream. The other 4 Heavenly Venerables weren't injured, but South Pole Heavenly Venerable Firewood, who was given the greatest hope to kill Long Chen, was the first to be injured. Boom! However, this guy still couldn't be underestimated. At this time, hundreds of branches pierced into his body, shattering the power of heavenly punishment and protecting him.